Good evening from Campbellville, Ontario. A small town about 45 minutes west of Canada's largest city, Toronto. It is the home of Woodbine Mohawk Park and the home of the brand new Mohawk Million, the first ever edition of that event coming up tonight, part of a wonderful lineup this evening on COSA-TV. Greg Blanchard and Mark McKelvey, great to be with you once again here this evening. And as you can see, an absolutely picture-perfect night here for the month of September. So, Mark, you've been a real busy guy. You didn't even have time to change into your COSA shirt tonight because you're doing double duty. And it's been a busy week for you. Let's talk Mohawk Million, first edition of this event, unprecedented in its format, and really a lot of speculation as to who was going to be in the field. What was it like, this week and even in the lead up?
Well, obviously, as everyone knows, the slot owners bought these slots back in February. And of course, at the time when they bought these slots, they had the intentions of having one of their own 2-year-old trotters compete in the race. But for some, that wasn't the case. And a few weeks ago, the rumor mill really started rolling and deals were being worked on. And I'd like to say basically from the end of last Saturday night until Monday at noon, it was constant communication back and forth on finding out who would represent who in each slot for the Mohawk Million. So it was a pretty busy weekend, a pretty busy 48 hours taking us into that Monday at noon deadline, which was actually nice to have that deadline because it gave us pretty much a week to begin building to this race. But of course, the build began a year ago today. It was actually September 26, 2019 that the race was officially announced. So it's been a wild 365 days, no doubt about that.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a lot of fun to hear as we go forward some of the stories as they come out and how these deals were perhaps arrived at, how they were put together for the horses competing tonight. A lot on the line, $1 million US. It translates to $1.3 million Canadian. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And it's going to wrap up what's been an absolutely spectacular month of racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Each and every Saturday night throughout the month has featured a plethora of Grand Circuit Stakes action, and we've had it all for you here on the show. To go along with that, though, we've got wagering to think about, and we had a bit of a goal that we set going into the month. We thought it's potential that we could hit $12 million in combined handle over the 4 Saturday night programs, and that, in fact, is the subject of tonight's poll question. Coming into tonight, we're 2.8 million away from hitting that goal, so that would be unprecedented territory, averaging out $3 million per Saturday night card over the entire month. Our question is simple: will we hit the mark tonight? I can tell you the wagering is strong to start the program. Have your say. Leave your answer for us. We would love to hear from you tonight wherever you're watching across our wide array of social media platforms here this evening. We're going to welcome in the Woodbine Entertainment Group Facebook page later on tonight. Everybody that comments, you're automatically entered for that draw at season's end for the Urban e-bike, valued at almost $3,500, compliments of our friends at hoofbid.com. So yes, please have your say. We'll track social media throughout the night, and a person that's going to help us do that, she's also doing double member of our broadcast team, Jamie McDonald. Jamie?
Thanks, guys. It's been action-packed for me already, talking to Bob McClure, Andy McCarthy, Yannick Gingras, and Trevor Henry already on this evening's card to catch up with their starters for tonight in some of our mega races. And speaking of those races, our lineup for COSA-TV's final Saturday in September kicks off with Race 5, the She's a Great Lady final. Moving into Race 6 are non-winners of 8,000 last 5. The Milton final for Race 7, the Metro for Race 8. Race 9 is non-winners of 12-5, last 5 for fillies and mares. And Race 10, to finish it off, is the inaugural Mohawk Million. It's an action-packed series here with this coverage. And here comes Post Parade.
All right, thank you very much, Jamie, and we look forward to hearing from those various connections throughout the night. Well, let's get right to the post parade of the She's a Great Lady. Big news just moments ago. A late scratch, Vols Delight, the post 1 starter, has been scratched, will not go. So we start with number 2, Twinbee Sunkissed, the $20,000 Harrisburg yearling purchase. She's got almost $100,000 made this year for her trainer, Francis Dumichel, who's also a co-owner, James McDonald, doing the driving.
Number 3.
Scarlett Hanover, a 3-race win streak coming in tonight. She took her elimination last week in 153-2 from Burke Racing, trained by Ashley Hensley here locally. Andy McCarthy picking up a very live catch drive.
All right, Mark, I think we're having some technical difficulties. We'll try and get back to you in a moment. But in the meantime, here's Caviar Audrey. She's the filly who's won 4 of 5 this season, has looked thoroughly dominant in her 3 Canadian starts for the team of Nancy Tactor and Yannick Gingras. 5 Notorious Pink, Tony Alanya has had a good record in the event. He won it 2 years ago with Tall Drink Hanover. Bob McClure behind his filly in here, Notorious Pink, 4 for 7 on the season. Spellcheck Hanover next. Greg McNair, the trainer of this one, also co-owner. She's a maiden coming in 0 for 7, but has close to 33,000 banked so far, and her overall times have been good. Doug McNair will drive, and she'll look for the maiden breaking victory, and she'll look to do it in style tonight. There is the 7 alumni sealster, Louis-Philippe Roy, doing the driving for trainer Dr. Ian Moore. Sally McDonald and Paul McDonald, the ownership group. They were the same ownership group that campaigned the Sire State Treasurer. She's 1 for 9 coming in. 8 is Paula's Bet Hanover. She's a betting line filly. Walter Whalen is the trainer for owner Chris Nicol of Caledonia, Ontario. Mike Whalen, the son of Walter, will do the driving. She's a one-time winner, 4 on the board finishes from 6 this year. There's the 9, Lady Arthur, one of the long shots at 46-1. Second sent out in the field by Dr. Ian Moore. She's 2 for 9 this season. Started off the season on a high note, tailed off a little bit of late, but she was a good 5th last week. Jody Jamieson driving. And rounding out the field of now 9 will be the 10 Best Head West, and she will start from the trailing tier, odds of 23-1. From the Bob McIntosh stable, he shares ownership. She's 3 for 9, has 130,000 on her card. So that's your field. Just a couple of minutes away from post time. We'll take a quick commercial break right now, and when we come back, we will have the first of our 6 tonight, the $455,000. She's a great lady.
Dark Horse. Download the app today.
Welcome back to Woodbine Mohawk Park, getting set for the She's a Great Lady final, and part of an outstanding program tonight where speed and talent will be on display. And Mark, we have the weather in place. where we can start to look at speed records, and I think some might be in jeopardy this evening.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case as we're currently sitting at 21 degrees Celsius, just a balmy late September evening, and there is a look at the Canadian speed records for the various divisions that we will see during tonight's stakes coverage. So we start with the 2-year-old pacing fillies. Lion Sentinel last year, 149.3. We were talking just before we came on camera, Greg, about the fact that last year we were sitting at about 20 degrees on Metro Pace, and She's a Great Lady night. So funny how Mother Nature has really cooperated here in late September for us in back-to-back years.
Absolutely, and this is just one of 4 championship finals we'll have as part of our coverage tonight, and part of another spectacular Saturday night. It's been an embarrassment of riches when it comes to stakes races all month long. 4 championships on tonight's program, 2.6 million plus in purses during that 6-pack, and 4 of the 5 top money-winning trainers in all of North America will be here. Want to quickly send it over now to driver Bob McClure. We'll see him prominent tonight. Jamie caught up with him earlier for his thoughts on the She's a Great Lady.
Now, what can you tell us about her limb last week?
She was obviously, you can see from the replay, she was loaded. That's obviously not ideal because I think she's the best, if not one of the best fillies in this race. I wouldn't trade her for any horse in the race. So that's not ideal because you can't pick your post. But had I known that she was going to get post 5, I had no complaints. She's super brave. She wanted out of that hole bad, and they come back way stronger the next week after those trips. So I'm super confident with her.
That was kind of my next question. You had a little bit of time off from driving her as she was south of the border. She came back. Are you more confident in your second start back on a horse?
Well, I drove her quite a bit early on. No, I'm just as confident with her. She's a sweetheart to drive. You know, there's no tricks to her. There's no nothing. She's just professional. Puts her head in front of her. She really dominated the stakes series. She won here, and I figured she was sitting on about a 50-mile, coming up, and then she went down to Lexington and did just that. And she raced great down there. She had a bit of bad luck trip-wise, so that's carried over. So hopefully 3's the charm, and that's out of the way. With some luck tonight, I expect her to win, with a good trip.
And before our coverage of COSA-TV starting on race 5, you've had some luck tonight, so hopefully that carries on.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, some confident words from Bob McClure. Said he wouldn't trade his filly for any. She's a contender. You have to look at Caviar Audrey. My colleague Mark McKelvey likes Scarlett Hanover, who has a 3-race win streak coming in. It's going to be quite a clash. It's the first of our stakes championships coming up. The She's a Great Lady. Here's Kenny Middleton with the race call.
Point now, 5-2 on next door neighbor Scarlett Hanover, the other elimination winner coming in with 3 consecutive victories. It's a talented field, top to bottom. And that field swings off the turn into the stretch. It's post time for race 5. Here they come. Often pacing. Good start inside. Scarlett Hanover leaving out in the center. Notorious Pink. And there's Alumni Sealster flashing early. Get Up and Go as well. From way out wide is Lady Arthur marching. Further back to Caviar Audrey, in no hurry in the early going as she's situated 5th towards the rail. Then it's back to Twinbee, Sunkissed, and Best Head West. Further back we go to Spellcheck Hanover, trailing in the early going as Paula's Bet Hanover, driving to the quarter. Scarlett Hanover's got them lined up in behind her. Alumni Sealster in the pocket. Lady Arthur putting in some ugly steps there from in 3rd. McClure's up and around that one, up and around the pocket sitter, and on the move right down to the front. Here's Notorious Pink teeing off in the 2nd quarter. She's the leader up to 3/8 after that first quarter was served up in 26 flat by Scarlett Hanover. So wicked early speed. Notorious Pink involved in it now. She'll lead them up to the half. Scarlett Hanover sits pocket. Alumni Sealster 2 lengths back in 3rd. Then Lady Arthur getting underway. Caviar Audrey grabbing that cover. Twinbee, Sunkissed in for a sweet toe. Best Head West from the backfield gets underway. Spellcheck Hanover trailing Paula's Bet Hanover. Half in 53 and 4. A scalding hot pace. And they track to the final turn chasing Notorious Pink. Outside comes Caviar Audrey now first. first over. Pocket sitting Scarlett Hanover. Advancing on the cover, Twinbee Sunkiss. She'll pop down to the rail briefly. Letting go is Alumni Sealster. Then it's Best Head West. 3/4, a dazzling 1:21.3. Into the stretch. Notorious Pink leads the way. She's getting all she can handle from Caviar Audrey on the outside in second. Bottled up in third. Crying out for a racetrack is Scarlett Hanover. Those cries are falling on deaf ears, though. Bob McClure not giving an inch. At the inside, Notorious Pink. Caviar Audrey. Best Head West is rolling from way back. Paula's Bet Hanover. And it's Paula's Bet Hanover right there on a 5 across photo finish for win. 1:52.2. A stagger fest to the line and a blanket photo finish.
Wild fractions and a wild finish in the She's a Great Lady. The half 53 and 4, 3/4 1:21 and 3. So Mark, you had to figure the backfield was going to come to life. And Andy
There's that photo
McCarthy
finish
bubbled up
line.
in traffic. I mean, I think he wins it anyway. He would have won it likely by 5 or 6 had he been able to get through earlier.
He just needed that room and just screaming for it the entire length of the stretch. You remember last week, he somehow rode the rail to victory in the Canadian Trotting Classic, and it works out here, but you'd have to think he was panicking until those final steps because he could tell Scarlett Hanover had tons of pace. Of course, Notorious Pink and Caviar Audrey, give them credit. They hung in there. They might still be second and third, but the backfield, like you said, comes to life. That might be one of the best finishes I have seen in quite some time. What is there, 6 across at the line? Just incredible.
And I wouldn't throw my tickets away just yet if you had the second or third place finishers, because there was some stick handling going on in the home stretch. They were in tight quarters. You can see Andy McCarthy at this point in time just zigging and zagging, desperate for racing room. And then you see getting in tight quarters there, the horses in behind and a breaking horse. So I would say this result very much unofficial. And the judges will have a little bit of work to do, and I'm sure we'll be taking a second, third, and maybe even fourth look.
They're going to have to take a look at that. As you saw, number 2, Twinbee Sunkiss goes off stride late in the stretch. And right there, when McCarthy, like you mentioned, zigs and zags, when he comes out a little bit, he might have interfered with Lady Arthur, who then had a little bit of contact with Twinbee Sunkiss. We'll wait to see if the inquiry sign goes up, but there's a little bit of contact there coming down the lane.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see. As of now, the inquiry sign not up, and again, we're only speculating, but in the meantime, here she comes back into the winner's enclosure. So there's no question with the way the trip worked out tonight, and she was the best, and you know, desperately searching for some racing room late in the mile. Andy McCarthy had to be panicking a little bit when there was just absolutely nowhere to go. And usually a seam will naturally open up somewhere along the line in an 1,100-foot long stretch, and that just wasn't happening.
No, not the case. And for Notorious Pink, those huge fractions, sometimes a horse is gonna drift out, but obviously Bob McClure was doing his best to keep McCarthy pinned in.
And the inquiry is now up, Mark, so not surprising here. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds as the connections are in the winner's circle. And
It's a good thing they have masks on, because it'd be interesting to tell what their reactions are. Andy McCarthy, sometimes you can tell by looking at someone how they feel, but they're taking these photos. They're going on with the presentation, but like you said, the inquiry sign is up, and they got to be taking a look at the action.
what do you think, Mark? I mean, it was tight quarters there. There's no doubt the other horses were tiring. Likely didn't impact the end result for them, but that's not you know, what the judges will use in trying to determine whether or not there will be a placing. And you hate to see that. Yeah, I mean, you hate to see it in a race of this magnitude with this kind of purse money on the line. You just want everybody to get that clean trip and let the chips fall where they may. And you know, it was McCarthy, just a circumstance of the way the trip worked out, and then, you know, trying desperately to find that way through. So we can confirm Scarlett Hanover, not surprisingly, is the subject of that inquiry.
Andy McCarthy is having now to walk back to the paddock because the judges have asked to speak with him. So there will be a little bit of time here before we do get a decision. It's a bit of a walk from the infield winner's circle back to the paddock, but of course, Andrew McCarthy, no doubt about it, he's just going to explain how things were, and definitely tells you right there that, like you said, hold those tickets, because this is going to take a little bit of time.
And I was surprised as well. I guess from our vantage point, Caviar Audrey did hold second in there. Notorious Pink held third. After all of that, it looked like Paula's Bet Hanover might record the monumental upset at 64-1. She was on the far outside of the racetrack and closing best of all, and just simply ran out of real estate. So this result, though, still very much unofficial. And we'll see if we can get you maybe one more look at the stretch drive. And you know, you're trying to watch so many different things, Mark. You're watching the closers because you know they're going to be heard from late, but you're also watching Andy, you know, ducking and diving along the inside. You can see him. He's looking left, looking right, and tried to commit along the inside, realized that that wasn't going to happen. And Bob McClure, I mean, there's no question he does not want to give up that position, because I'm sure he knows the horse in behind him is very live. You
could see right there the contact. The front left of Jody Jameson's charge, Lady Arthur, is going to get touched by that right wheel of McCarthy's here, which will lead to the eventual break of Twin Bee Sunkissed.
Yeah, so there it is going sideways. And yeah, there was certainly a chain reaction after that. And when you see a horse breaking too, that exaggerates that a little bit more. Here's another look at it from a different vantage point. We'll see if that gives us a better indication. And there you see Bob McClure. I mean, horses start to tire, naturally will drift, but he really wanted to make sure that he kept that position closed as long as he could, knowing full well how tired his filly was.
This angle really shows just how much ground they went to the outside. The one angle really didn't look like there is too much there, but you really see how far right here Scarlett Hanover comes right into Lady Arthur.
And you can see Mike Whalen, the green and yellow, on the far outside of the racetrack closing. And right in here, he's probably thinking, I might pick up all the pieces here. I'm sure they would be ecstatic with how their filly performed. And yeah, I really thought he might get there. I thought Trevor Henry, I should say, looked live with the Bob McIntosh pupil. He got up into the mix, but in the end, Notorious Pink, Caviar Audrey, they hung in there.
They really fought, and again, those fractions, just insane for two-year-old pacing fillies. And these are fillies that at this point just haven't shown that they were going to go 49 just yet. I think a couple of them even last week, 52 was what we were getting from them. So off 3/4 of 21, I wasn't holding my breath that those two were going to hang in there. So full marks to them for showing that grit and determination. And you had to imagine, for example, Mike Whalen there sweeping up on the outside. He's getting closer and closer. He had to have thought they were coming back to him.
Yeah, and they were 30-4 last quarter. You don't see that very often at this level in a race of this caliber, but that was the end result of those fast early fractions. So still some things to be sorted out by the AGCO racing officials. So we will take a quick commercial break and hopefully have that official result when we come back.
Dark Horse. Download the app today.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming, and your first bet is on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
Welcome back. You are watching COSA-TV coverage of this Saturday night spectacular from Woodbine Mohawk Park. And we kicked it off with a wild and woolly edition of the She's a Great Lady. And we can tell you they're still trying to sort out the official finish order. Scarlett Hanover was first across the wire. That's her buried along the inside. Good look at it on the slow motion shot. In tight quarters, zigging and zagging. And there's a bit of confusion as she tries to work to the outside. Eventually, we'll get that seam late mark, and we'll have enough real estate to get her nose to the wire first, but we're still not sure. And we are getting word now that they have made a decision.
Scarlett Hanover has been disqualified, tossed right out of the top 4. And because of that, that means Caviar Audrey will be vaulted up, and she is now the winner of this year's She's a Great Lady. So a disqualification, Greg. Took a bit of time, but there was certainly contact there, and enough that the judges felt that Scarlett Hanover would have to be taken down. So despite the fact we already saw the presentation in the winner's circle, cooler trophy presented, gonna have to do that a second time. Caviar Audrey now is gonna get her 4th consecutive win here at Woodbine Mohawk Park.
And you know, in hindsight, I mean, we want to leave those decisions up to the racing officials, but it was hard to argue that there wasn't some contact there. Really unfortunate, and again, you hate to see that because ultimately the best horse on this night gets placed through no fault of her own. And for Andy McCarthy, I mean, it's just the way the trip worked out. You know, 9 out of 10 times, something's going to open up in the stretch, and tonight it just didn't happen. It's a rarity, and you know, left him scrambling, and unfortunately quarters got too tight, and thus the placing.
Well, just taking a quick glance at social media, and as you can imagine, split down the middle. Those who felt to the point that you mentioned already, did it impact a horse that was going to win the race? No, it did not. All of those fillies were pretty much spent. The only one who really had any pace was, of course, Paula's Bad Hanover coming on the far outside. But to your point, Scarlett Hanover was absolutely the best horse here tonight, but there is contact. And because of that, we do see the placing. A controversial, you could say, start to the evening, but nonetheless, dramatic to get us going.
Absolutely. We had another big pick 5 pool tonight, 140,000 wagered in. And even with the heavy favorite ultimately getting promoted to first here, you get a nice return on that wager, a little over $1,800. The Superfecta gets bumped up substantially. A couple of favorites first and second, but $564 on that with Paula's Bad Hanover and Best Head West. A couple of long shots hitting the Super.
So there's a look at that top 4. And Best Head West was a filly that we've been watching all season long, right back from our baby race coverage back in June. And again, I know Bob McIntosh had some hopes for her and for Best Head West. A pretty good effort here tonight to now get that 4th place check in a race going for $455,000.
All right, so Caviar Audrey, a quick thought on her. We thought coming in, you know, she looked so dominant in her first start here. And then last week won, but looked like she needed the wire. Made the first up move tonight. Didn't seem to really have a lot of pop. Now, they were going in 121 and 3, so there might have been reason for that. But at the end of the day, she hangs in there, finishes second, ultimately gets the win. So she remains perfect on Canadian soil.
A couple things that stand out to me there. One, last week, driver Yannick Gingras talked about the fact that she just isn't that same filly that we saw in the internal Cam Nation August 29th. That those following 2 starts, she just wasn't the same. In fact, he said she was about 80% last Saturday. Be interested to hear his thoughts here tonight, exactly how she was. And again, maybe a little bit of the racing gods coming onto their side, considering that her only loss to this point was a race that she won and got disqualified for causing interference. Of course, the person that day, certainly not as big as it was here tonight, so it's funny how things have a way of working out.
Yeah, and you have to give full marks to Notorious Pink. She put up incredible fractions, 121 and 3, had never been that speed before, and she hangs around in the top 3 and ultimately gets the 2nd place prize. So Tony Alanya, his string of good luck in this particular event continues, and for driver Bob McClure, another nice payday for him, and that's been a regular theme this season. Bob McClure, and we thought coming in tonight he had a strong lineup again, and as this graphic will suggest, he's got a drive in each of the 4 stakes championships here this evening, and with that he's inching closer to career best numbers on the earnings side sitting at a little over $5 million already this season.
It's just been a fantastic season for Bob McClure, and he really heated up about a month into the resume of racing. Month of July, he was absolutely dominant, and there you get a look, as you mentioned, at what those numbers are sitting at. Big opportunity here tonight. I know Robert Reed Jr., our Horse Player Journal author here at Woodbine Entertainment, loves to call him Big Money Bob, and that could be a very fitting nickname here tonight if he can come through. Already with a second in the She's a Great Lady, and a great shot, of course, in the Mohawk Million, driving the undefeated filly, Donna Soprano.
And Robert Reed, the author of the Horse Players Journal, he was one of our guest handicappers, as were you, Mark. And all month long, we've had guest handicappers coming in, trying to raise some money for the Ontario Standardbred Adoption Society, a wonderful cause, giving them a $100 COSA gift card to play a designated race on each of our featured broadcasts. And so far, yourself, Garnet Barnsdale, Robert Reed Jr. have all been shut out. So it's our last chance tonight to try and raise some money for this charity. We got a little bit desperate. We had to reach further afield this time to find our guest handicapper, so we went all the way out to the East Coast in Halifax, Nova Scotia, where our friend Chris Roberts brought him in to try and help us out this week. Chris, over to you.
Mohawk Million, it's Chris Roberts here from Halifax, Nova Scotia, the newly named Chief Atlantic Correspondent for COSA-TV. Might have just made that title up myself. You know that the well has gone dry when Curtis McDonald and Greg Blanchard came begging me to offer my free charity picks for tonight's program. It's for charity. How could I say no? I've drawn the 6th race. Tons of big ones on tonight's card, but I have drawn a grinding condition type of race. They're really my favorite to bet on anyway. So let's get right into it. Tons of speed signed on for this one. You've got General Joy and Ideal Jet. Both of these always rocket off the gate. Both came to dead stops in their last race. Tyga Hanover and Icy Blue Scooter probably in the mix early as well, but to me this race goes right through Torin Hanover. Been a long time since this guy's been in a spot that's as cushy as he finds tonight. Full disclosure, I did not love his last effort. Started from the second tier in that one. Didn't settle as close up as he usually does, and really was the victim of circumstance following the 2-horse out of there who didn't get a very forward position himself. He ended up 4th over in a flow that went absolutely nowhere. Sort of got started and stopped a little down the backstretch, but just didn't finish very well in my estimation. Chart says he was 6th. He was really only a neck away from being 8th in there. But in my opinion, he's just better than the other horses signed on in here. He's also going to be the favorite in here, probably at odds of 2-1 or less. So how are we going to make some charity money with a favorite? Well, I'm going to hook up Torin Hanover in here with 2 horses in exotic plays. First, number 3, Pedro Hanover, who's an obvious contender. He ended up 4th over in his latest start as well. Finished well, gets a slight drop in here and a much better post position to work with. So Pedro Hanover to me in the ticket. And also, to add a little value, number 8, Regal Sun. I think he was just great in his last start. He got chased hard by Yannick off the gate in there, moved first up to get around a rank long shot, and then hung around to finish 3rd when he had absolutely every reason to stop. So I'm going heavy with Torin Hanover on top, locking these 2 up in some exotics just like this. A $2 triactor ticket with 2 over 3/8 plus the field. That'll cost you $32. A $1 try backing that up, 2 with the field onto 3 and 8. That'll cost $16. A $10 exactor, 2 over the 3/8. That'll add $20 to the ticket. And then $32 straight up to win on number 2, Torin Hanover, for a total cost of $100. Those are my charity picks. Good luck for the rest of you on Mohawk Million night.
Well, thank you very much to Chris Roberts. Yes, our new East Coast correspondent. And I'll tell you what, Mark, we're so desperate. If he does happen to click, hey, we'll give him that title because we need a winner. What do you think?
Well, we definitely need a winner, and there was so much detail there in the analysis from Chris that I am fully supporting this ticket here. No doubt about it. Torin Hanover, of course, the even money favorite, and like you said, lands in a pretty cushy spot. But hey, I got shut out, Garnet got shut out, so did Robert, so there's no doubt about it. We are rooting hard for Chris and for this great cause, the Ontario Standardbred Adoption Society.
Yes, thank you very much, Chris, and good luck to him, and good to see him doing well out there in Nova Scotia. We've got a big race to look ahead to, of course, the Mohawk Million tonight, first ever edition of that, a unique format this season with 9 owners buying slots prior to the race and then declaring the horse that they wanted to occupy that spot. One winner was chosen as well after winning the Wellwood. Luke Blais has strength in numbers. He's the only trainer with 2 starters in the field. And earlier this week, we headed over to his farm, which is pretty close by here, Mohawk Park, and we got his thoughts on both On a Streak and the sensational filly Donna Soprano.
Hi, I'm Luc Blais. I'm the trainer of Donna Soprano and On a Streak on $1 million race tonight.
Continues. On a Streak is upset-minded. On a Streak upsets in the William Wellwood Memorial in 154-3.
In the Wellwood, it has not surprised me. I think last couple of weeks you can see the progression. And he raced super good in the Champlain, you know. He fight at the wire with the good horse of Swansett. And no, I was not surprised, you know. He always be a nice horse to train, you know. He never have a problem to make him trot. He was just a player, you know. He was not on the job, but he always trot all winter, you know, to train. He likes to follow. It was not the best colt to cut the mile, but I think he was just not there, you know. Yeah.
Donna Soprano dazzling in the peaceful way. It's Donna Soprano wrapped up by McClure. She won it by 5 lengths up the inside.
I was comfortable with her or Macho, but I think Macho has got 9 starts already, and we don't want to, you know, over racing him, you know, and Donna, she got only a 5 start, and I think that's the decision. We had a meeting with Mr. Gadin, and we take a decision all together, you know. Yeah. You know, it's tough to say, you know. She shows lots right now. It's tough to see if she can be better than that, you know. She just won in 53 the other day. You know, it's going to be tough to be better than that, I think. But she showed that very easy right now, you know. I think more we close up the race, I think I feel better now. That's funny to say, but between when you put the entry, you want everything perfect at that day. But today looks good, you know, everything looks good. I got a good feeling, you know.
So nice to hear from Luke Blais. He's a man of few words, Mark, so for him to express even that modicum of confidence, I think speaks volumes.
Yeah, it certainly does. You know, I don't know how many times this season I've tried to interview Luke Blais following a victory, and usually gets his picture taken and wants to head right back to the paddock with the horse. Usually lets driver Bob McClure or Scott Young, as was the case in the William Wellwood, do the talking. But when Luke speaks, you certainly listen. And again, he has definitely got confidence in his starters here tonight, and for very good reason. Yeah, what a 1-2 punch we'll see from him later tonight in the highly anticipated Mohawk Million, going for 1.3 million Canadian to be exact. But in the meantime, we've got overnight pacers lining up for tonight's 6th race. So we're going to head over and have a look at that now. And we heard from our colleague Chris Roberts earlier. He likes number 2 Torin Hanover to win, and if he does so, he'll be looking to cash in for the Ontario Standardbred Adoption Society. Here's Kenny Middleton with the call.
Late money comes crashing in here. We've got a group of 10. Public fond of number 2, Torin Hanover. Still that filly on aboard, the Ben Béarchon trainee. Nose back on the gate. Class drops here tonight, shooting for his 3rd victory of the year. He's shown solid class relief and that good starting spot here inside. 4 to 5 is the price offered on 2, Torin Hanover, as the gate swings into the stretch for race 6. Field set for a start. Often pacing. Tyga Hanover's blasting out of there from the outside. Down the center, Ideal Jet with his explosive speed. Torrin Hanover leaving enough to try and gain that pocket trip to the turn. At the rail, it's Icy Blue Scooter up with them. Driving into the first turn, Tyga Hanover swept to the front from McDonald. Here on the outside comes stablemate Torrin Hanover, still trying to drive up and challenge. Now third inside is Icy Blue Scooter. First quarter, 26-1. Tyga Hanover about to give way. Torrin Hanover sweeps by. Now third, it's Icy Blue Scooter. 2.5 to Ideal Jet. Situated fifth is Pedro Hanover. Sixth in the backfield, Hervey Hanover tips, but he'd like to fish out cover. Further back we go to General Joy, scoots up the pylons. Royal Renegade is underway, third over. Then scooting through between horses is Regal Sun, a hard-held Regal Sun. And trailing at the rail is American Virgin. Field approaching the midway point. Torrin Hanover, after getting roughed up early, gets things settled down in that second quarter. 29-second second quarter, and they're at the half in 55-1. 4-5 favorite Torrin Hanover leads. Tyga Hanover head to helmet second. Third outside, Pedro Hanover. Back into fourth, it's Icy Blue Scooter. Cover fifth enjoyed by Hervey Hanover. Plugs get pulled as he starts to gap his cover. Scooting up the rail is Ideal Jet. Then Overland is Royal Renegade. Up the inside, General Joy. Overland is Regal Sun gapping his cover. Trailing at the rail, American Virgin. 3 quarters in 123. Off the turn into the stretch with a 27-4 third quarter. A smash of the wheel disc by Filion, and Torrin Hanover takes off by 3 lengths. Back in second, Tyga Hanover. Third outside, Pedro Hanover levels off. Up off cover, Hervey Hanover from way back. Royal Renegade is rolling. Deep stretch, Torrin Hanover still there. Royal Renegade on the outside late. Torrin Hanover drops and pops to win. Up for second was Royal Renegade. Hervey Hanover third, tight for the balance in 150-4.
Torrin Hanover holding on, 150-4 in that. Wire came up just in time, Mark. A couple were closing late, including Royal Renegade, who makes it interesting. But the veteran Torrin Hanover gets it done, drops and pops, 150-4. So the good news is, got a little bit of money coming the way of OSAS. The bad news is, they're not going to get rich off of it.
No, not going to get rich, but hey, we didn't get shut out, so kudos to Chris Roberts. Thank you so much for making up for the failures of myself, Garnet, and Robert. We weren't going to go 0 for 4, so hey, 1 for 4, but we'll say we hit a home run. Maybe a triple. It probably wasn't a home run.
Now, I'll have to review the exotics. I don't think he caught any of the exotics, did he?
I don't think so. That's what I was looking for at the game to the line. Royal Renegade sweeping up on the outside with 17-1, got second.
So it'll be a $32 win ticket at 4 to 5. So we'll have to do the math on that and get a total. But the good news is COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, wonderful in supporting this coverage all season long. They're going to be guaranteeing that $500 donation to the Ontario Standardbred Adoption Society, another wonderful cause. So there's a look again at Torrin Hanover, finding the wire in time for driver Sylvain Filion in this particular spot. And he holds on over the hard-charging Royal Renegade in the late stages. So we'll take another quick commercial break. We'll be back with the prices from race 6 and much, much more here on COSA-TV.
COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSAonline.com.
The Breeders' Crown, harness racing's richest and most prestigious championship series, featuring $6 million, will compete over 2 nights at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. Join us Friday, October 30th and Saturday, October 31st, 2020 for the 37th edition of the Breeders' Crown.
And welcome back. $3.70 is the win ticket return for Torrin Hanover. Chris Roberts clicked for 16 of those. My math isn't that good. I can't tabulate that on the spot, but we'll get a total, and again, a guaranteed donation of $500 going the way of the Ontario Standardbred Adoption Society. It's the start of the late Pick 5 wager as well, and another big pool, almost $100,000 going into that. Well, we have a quick moment, Mark. We want to look back a couple of days to this year's edition of the Little Brown Jug. Again, like everything, held under different circumstances, but the race itself and the day itself provided lots of drama and a bit of an upset in the final.
Yeah, it certainly did. How about a horse that hadn't won a race all year long coming through in the final, Captain Barbosa, a horse that we were very familiar with from some time here at Mohawk Park over the last several weeks, including the Pepsi North America Cup, and just a perfect drive by Joe Bongiorno, the biggest win of his career, no doubt about that. And going into this year's edition of the Little Brown Jug, it appeared on paper to be pretty wide open. Of course, Catch the Fire had won the Adios earlier this year. He was probably the one to beat, and he did get that win in the first heat, but Bongiorno read things well. Captain Barbosa was very good on the end of his mile in the elimination, and it's not the same format that it used to be for so many years. You just got to win that final, and Captain Barbosa was the best, so congratulations to those connections.
Yeah, he knew, I think, that he had a live horse going into the second heat, and he was confident and made the winning move, I think, right at the start, getting around the number 3, who was a little bit gapped at the start. Reminded me of a couple of years back when Courtly Choice did the same thing, and able to come first up. And first up at Delaware, if you've got the right kind of a horse, is sometimes the best spot to be, and it certainly was. So again, congratulations to the connections, trainer Tony Alagna, driver Joe Bongiorno. Big victories, the first Little Brown Jug for either of those gentlemen. Probably not the last either. We turn our attention ahead to the Milton Stakes coming up next, and this features the best older pacers in the sport. We had 2 eliminations from a week ago, so to set the stage for you, we're going to show you that elimination pack and show you how these great mares arrived in tonight's $215,000 final.
In the sand, pumped up fourth, 50 inside. That's Major Occasion. Then Treacherous Rain and Leader Rose, 54-4, solid first half speed. Second panel, 28-1/5. And it's Where We You Butte on that lead. Going into the final turn, Sunny D is right there, head to helmet second. Stonebridge Soul third, popped out first up, Major Occasion fourth, giving cover to Treacherous Rain. Shuffled back is Kissin' in the Sand, and the trailer remains Leader Rose. They're on their way to 3/4. Where We You Butte finding another gear as she's got 2 again on Sunny D. 3/4 in 122-2 coming into the stretch. Where We You Butte trying to give them the slip. She's got it by 2.5. Sunny D back into second. In at the rail third is Stonebridge Soul. Down the center, Kissing in the Sand. Shakes loose late now. Here's Treacherous Rain. Here's Leader Rose onto the scene. Way out wide. Still there. It's Where We You Butte trying to hold on for the final 16th. She is sleepwalking late and picking her off right on the money. It was Kissing in the Sand. Jameson and Kissing in the Sand in 149-2 to win it. And on the outside, McClure gives him his wish as Trillions Hanover goes by in 55-4. A second panel in 29 flat. They race to the far turn. Trillions Hanover leads it a length. Tall Drink Hanover second. Back into third is Boadicea. And now she'll come to the outside first up from third. Back there, fourth inside to Caviar Alley. On cover fifth is So Much More. And sixth inside to Philly Hanover. Racing up to 3/4. On that lead, Trillions Hanover. Second at the inside to Tall Drink Hanover. Boadicea really struggled on that turn out there from in third. 3 wide to try and zip around her comes Caviar Alley. 3/4 in 123-1, and they're into the stretch. And it's Trillions Hanover still there. Here down the center comes Caviar Alley setting sail late. Far outside comes So Much More, kicked off cover. And she's steamrolling from McDonald now. So Much More on the outside coming after Trillions Hanover. And it's So Much More in Trillions Hanover. Trillions Hanover holding on in 150-3.
Well, good finishes in the eliminations, Mark, and no real standout, and that's a bit of a rarity coming into this event. Typically there has been that big gun, especially in recent years, that was a prohibitive favorite. Not going to be the case this year, even though the 2-time defending champion is back.
That is the case, and I'd have to say coming into tonight, this was the race I'm most looking forward to. It is just such a competitive group that is going to compete in the Milton Stakes final here. This is the race I was looking forward to the most coming into tonight. Based off of those eliminations, you saw them right there. 3 across finishes in both. Like you said, Caviar Alley, the 2-time defending champion. You'd have to think she's going to be even better than she was last week. I thought she raced pretty well, considering it was her first start off the bench. Second start, of course, you're going to look for her to be much better, but I do think as well, you've got Kissing in the Sand in the same boat, and these other mares like Warrawee Butte's going to be better, and so much more will always deliver. Should be just a fantastic race.
And Andy McCarthy, I think, is quite confident that his mare will be a lot better this week as well. And we're going to hear from him following the post parade. Jamie caught up with him earlier tonight. But having said that, she's not the dominant Caviar Alley coming in. She's really trying to salvage the season. A huge disappointment to this stage.
Yeah, the only thing that I look at is the fact of how good she was late last year. So we know there's still a lot of money on the line. You got the Milton tonight, the All-Arage down in Lexington coming up in a couple weeks. Of course, the Breeders' Crown, the TVG. So she could really salvage this season. In fact, she could just rip off a great final 2 months here, and we would just be talking about what another banner year it was for her. So there's still lots of time for Caviar Alley to come through.
Yeah, and a key consideration tonight as well is the fact that post 10, again, not the hindrance it once was. It's not the far outside of the gate anymore. You're leaving from the trailing spot. And I think that'll serve her well, frankly. I'm sure Andy would prefer to have her nose on the gate, though, if he thinks she is the best. What do you make of that? What do you make of the opening odds of 7-1?
Well, a little surprised. I thought she would take a bit more support, but it's got to be that second tier. I'm wondering and just how Andy McCarthy's going to be able to map out this trip for her. But, you know, she powered home not bad last week. There's a few others that can really fly on the end of their miles. Lita Rose is one to keep in mind. You see her number 8, 7-2. She was 4th last week. That final quarter, 25-3. That was just a sneaky elimination that if you're not watching closely, she was really, really good.
And I'm with you, Mark. This is the race, or one of the races I'm most looking forward to tonight. Really talented group of mares. They all seem to be fairly evenly matched, at least at this point in the season coming into tonight. Several are in good form, so it is going to be fun to watch. Let's show you the post parade. One mare that I thought was very good last week, flying with a 25-3 final quarter to be 3rd for Tony Alanya and driver Bob McClure. Her name, Treacherous Rain.
There's a look at the Roses. Our red champion, Warrawee Butte, really hit a wall in about the last couple hundred meters last week. She'll probably be better here tonight. She always shows up when the big money's on the line.
Kissing in the Sand also rocketed home in 25-3 last week to win her elimination for trainer Nancy Tactor, co-owned by Marvin Katz and the Hatfield Stables of Columbus, Ohio. Jody Jameson will drive.
Elimination winner Trillions Hanover not getting much respect here. 17-1, trained by Tom Fanning. Doug McNair picking up the live catch drive here.
It's been a bit of a struggle this year for Boadicea to regain her best form, but she was a hard-fought 5th place finisher last week in the Elim. She sneaks into the final here. Sylvain Filion, a winner in race 6, looks to come right back.
Fan favorite, so much more. Can she come through in the big spot? She was 3rd in the Rosa Red, 2nd last week in her elimination. James McDonald drives for the Beatsons.
Philly Hanover, another one of those really talented performers who has yet to win in 2020. 0 for 11 coming in, but 6 on the board finishes. She was 4th in her elimination a week ago. Trevor Ritchie will do the driving. She's at 44-1.
Lita Rose, just a short time ago, was racing against the boys in the preferred at Rideau Carleton. Here she is tonight in the final of a Grand Circuit event, trained by Maxime Vallet. Louis-Philippe Waugh drives, like we said, a big 25-3 final quarter in her elimination. Finished 4th last week on the season. She is 5-4-10.
Another mare who is 0 for this season, but much, much better than that record indicates, is Stonebridge Soul, the number 9. The post is not going to help her chances tonight, but she's 0 for 9 this year, 66,000 made, in contrast to her 3-year-old campaign where she banked more than $500,000. So the talent is there. She's going to click one of these times. Public does not think it'll be tonight, though, however. She is 99-1.
There's a look at Caviar Alley. Can she make it to 3-peat in the Milton Stakes? We'll find out here shortly. Good look at her as she steps out onto the track, trained by Brett Pelling for Caviar Farms, who has just had a tremendous run of success, winning a lot of major races here at Mohawk Park over the last few years. Andy McCarthy, you know, no doubt about it, he wants a little bit of redemption after what we saw, and she's a great lady. All
right, speaking of Andy, earlier tonight, Jamie McDonald caught up with him to find out what he thinks about his charge coming into tonight's final.
Andy McCarthy joins us now for the Milton final, post 10 with Caviar Alley. She raced well last start, having some time off. Were you happy with her?
Yeah, I thought she raced okay last start. She's definitely a lot better than that, and I expect her to be a hell of a lot better tonight. You know, I think she'll be a little sharper this week.
Yeah, definitely needed that start, on your opinion.
Yeah, you know, the ship up, and I just don't think she was quite 100% last week. But like I said, I think she's had a week here to settle in, and I think she'll be good to go tonight.
You won the Milton last year. Can you do it in back-to-back years?
Yeah, this is actually, I'm trying for 3 years in a row, so we'll see what happens there, but I definitely know I have the horsepower underneath me. I just have a little bit of a unfortunate post position, but we'll see what we can work out there. You know, she's definitely fast enough to push through and you know, get a decent spot early anyway.
Yeah, post position definitely matters in these big races, and unfortunately you didn't luck out too well in post position draw tonight. But moving on to the Metro for race 8, a Buck-a-Bet Hanover, post 3 for this pacing colt. And you've driven this colt on both sides of the border. What can you tell us about this 2-year-old?
He's just super sharp right now. Haven't really found the bottom of him yet. You know, he's been winning pretty handily and coming big last quarters. You know, it's going to be an interesting race tonight. You know, you go for that much money, and there's going to be a few more people taking a shot, which is it's the way it is. But you know, I expect to try and work out a good trip with him, and you know, hopefully I can have him in the right spot.
And speaking about going for a ton of money, the Mohawk Million, race 10, post 10 for this trotting colt, Venrate. What do you know about him, and what are your expectations for this race?
I seen him race at Lexington last Sunday. He won the Kentucky Sire Stakes final down there, and you know, he went a huge mile. He went 51 and looked like he was doing it pretty easy. So I definitely think I have the horsepower. I just same deal. You know, it's a little tricky getting through there from the 10 hole, and you know, hopefully I can just get him through there safely and in a halfway handy spot. You know, after the first quarter, and you know, start working into the race from there. But you know, it is going to be tricky, but I definitely know I have a good enough horse to get close.
Thanks for joining us, and safe travels back home after tonight.
Thank you.
So hearing from Andy McCarthy there, you know, some insights into Caviar Alley and what he expects. But one consideration, Mark, that we did know coming into the night was what would happen for McCarthy earlier. And any residual effects of that going into the night. Typically, those guys at the top level, the professionals, even though it's, I'm sure, eating them what happened earlier, they can turn the page and get focused on the task at hand.
Yeah, that is the case. There's a reason that they are the best of the best, because as much as this game is done out on the track, it is a mental as well, a mental game. And I think for Andy McCarthy, he can likely push that one aside. He's had disappointments before. That's happened. There's no doubt about that. I know it's just a couple races later, but he is driving just such a classy mare here that he knows so well that that gives you quite an advantage, I'd have to think, just knowing what you're going to get from her. If anyone knows what he'll get here tonight, it will be Andy McCarthy with Caviar Alley, who is currently sitting there at 5-1.
Kissin' in the Sand is the favorite right now at 3-2. She was so impressive in winning her limb a week ago. Jody Jamieson, it was interesting in his interview afterward, you know, kind of criticizing himself a little bit. He didn't think he had her in a great spot, but ultimately it worked out well. Kept her covered up, and she exploded home. So, you know, in hindsight, that's the perfect kind of setup race for a final.
Yeah, it really is, considering that Kissin' in the Sand had not raced since August 8th. She had one qualifier under her belt, which was a real good qualifier down at the Red Mile, but she goes into last week's elimination, one that maybe we're not giving her the full love that she would have deserved based on her resume, just because we figured she was going to need that start. And she got absolutely the perfect elimination race, because like you said, she wasn't getting used too hard. She didn't get hurt much, and then as it turns out, the leader hits a wall late, and she's absolutely flying on the end. It's pretty incredible to go down the page here and just see that we've got not one, not two, but about 3 different mares that came home sub-26 in those eliminations. And because of that, I think that's why this makes it such an race, because there were so many good efforts last week.
And Kissin' in the Sand last year in the Milton, she was the runner-up behind Caviar Alley and charged home on that occasion in 26-4. And it was about this time of year that she got really sharp last season. So this shouldn't be surprising. Moments ago, we had a look at Warrawee Butte. She went down the road last week in the elim and got picked off. Do you anticipate a change of tactic this time for her, and what do you expect from her ultimately?
I don't expect much change from driver Yannick Gingras because, as we talked about, the drivers at least know exactly what they should get and what's going to work for them. You look at the Roses Are Red 3 starts back, and there it was, getting hard out of there, gets command in the second quarter, and then marches on to the win. And really last week, it'd be interesting to know what happened on the very end, because this wasn't the case of just getting picked off, but she's pacing home real well. She paces that first eighth of the final quarter pretty strong, and then something just happened. It was almost like they attached a parachute to her because she just slowed right up before the line. I don't expect that'll be the case. Ron Burke, notorious for having his horses absolutely razor sharp for finals, and I think after seeing a race like that, there's no doubt that he was going and taking a look at what would they have to do to have her ready here tonight.
All right, and there's a good look at Kissin in the Sand, the daughter of Some Beach somewhere in her 5-year-old season. Talk about a class mare, $1.4 million on her card, and looking to add another 100,000 plus to that total here tonight, as we are just moments away from kicking off the Milton Final. Maybe one more to touch on quickly, Mark. Lida Rose had the co-fastest final quarter in the Elims, 25-3 last week. Rallied from 7th to finish 4th, only beaten a length and a half.
Yeah, got to give her a lot of respect here. I know it's her first big Grand Circuit event, but I think she'll certainly hold her own. So too will likely the fan favorite, as I talked about in the post parade, so much more. Could be a good race here for the locals.
It's a clash of the top older pacing mares in the sport. The $215,000 Milton Final.
9-2, maybe the price of the board. Caviar Alley, third beat ahead last time out at 80 cents in the dollar. Tonight she's 9-2. It's post time for race 7. Ten of racing's classiest gals. It's the Milton Stakes Final. Here they come. Often pacing, Lida Rose with big speed from the outside. Trillions Hanover fires down the center. Kissin in the Sand steps forward off the car. She'll drop 3rd. Treacherous Rain 4th. Everybody else lines up, including Warwi U Butte. She'll tuck 5th. Caviar Ally 6th off the speed. Boadicea from in 7th. Further back, So Much More. Then it's back to Philly Hanover, the early trailer Stonebridge Soul. So getting them lined up in a hurry was Lida Rose. Explosive speed off the gate for her. She's by the quarter in 26-1, and she'll take this field to the backstretch. Trillions Hanover rides the pocket spot, up and at it 3rd, Kissin in the Sand. As Jameson pulls the trigger, here comes Kissin in the Sand, blasting up outside, and at 3/8, she'll go after Lida Rose. Here comes Kissin in the Sand, marching her way to the top now. Lida Rose accepts the pocket trip from here. Trillions Hanover 3rd, 4th, Treacherous Rain, popping out as Warwi U Butte from in 5th. Gingras sit out there just for a moment, try and fish out McClure, and it looks like McClure took the bait. 54-1.5, so it's Treacherous Rain to come first over now. Warwi U Butte gets a friend to follow out there from in 5th. Scurrying through at the rail 6. Look at the position Stonebridge Soul picked up. She was last to the quarter, now 6th at the inside, but she's run into a serious blind switch. Outside goes Caviar Alley into the flow. Backfield sees So Much More. Launch 3 wide. Philly Hanover stuck in traffic, as is Boadicea. Opening up a big lead here, Kissin in the Sand, as she's got 3 on them now. At 3/4 in 122-1. Kissin in the Sand, straight and strong as she powers into the lane. And she's clear by 4. Lida Rose back into 2nd. Trillions Hanover looking for some room at the rail. Treacherous Rain on the outside 4th. Deep stretch, and Jameson is on autopilot late here with Kissin in the Sand as she's wrapped up coming to the line. And it's Kissin in the Sand, just as devastating as she was last week, maybe more. 149, Kissin in the Sand in the Milton.
In a league of her own tonight, Kissin in the Sand, and Mark, a quarter pole move to the lead, 54-1/2. We were talking in the 3rd quarter, Treacherous Rain was not advancing. We were wondering if it was because of a big 3rd quarter, but that wasn't the case. And when you saw a mare of this caliber get a 28-second 3rd quarter, you knew the result was never in doubt from there.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Opens up a few lengths on the rivals going to 3/4, and that's why we wondered, okay, maybe she really is rolling. Treacherous Rain, though, no good first up there. She just didn't have any pop, and because of that, it was the ones that were stacked up behind her who we thought would be the main players. They're pretty far off there, and Jody Jamieson, it's a cakewalk coming to the line here. He gets that separation, and like you said, 22 1 3/4. That's nothing new for a mare like this, and she's going to pace home strong to cap off the victory.
So watch for her as we move into the late portion of the season. This is a time of year that she has traditionally gotten very sharp, and that appears to be the case once again. Caviar Alley, the two-time defending champ, gets that streak snapped, but I'm sure the Connection's happy to see how she's performed here the last couple of weeks as she looks ahead to a lucrative fall campaign. Lee DeRose, one that had been toiling at Rideau Carleton in Ottawa until recently, and boy, she's made her presence felt here in Campbellville, and it looked like she held on along the inside. I haven't seen the official results yet, but I believe she hung on or was very close to being second.
Looks like she was second there, so a good performance from her to get the second place finish. And hey, for a mare like that, like I said, a little over a month ago was just racing at Rideau Carleton in the preferred there, then to come to a Grand Circuit event and get a second, I'm sure the Connection's awfully happy with that. Caviar Alley third. Treacherous Rain, you know, the comments I made, maybe not completely accurate. She wasn't making up a whole lot of ground there first up. It was tough for her, but she still gets a fourth place check. Not an awful performance from her. Just thought when McClure finally pulled her on the right line there and asked her to go that she would get up at least to the wheel, or at least apply a little bit of pressure on Kissing in the Sand. Just wasn't the case though, and I'm sure those who were behind him really wish they might have been in a little closer targeting distance, because they just weren't when they got into the stretch.
Well, there you go, and we get fooled from time to time. We thought, you know, we were in for one of those races where there could be 3 or 4 across the track, and anybody could win it, and it wasn't the case. Kissing in the Sand was just superior on this night. There's the longtime mayor of Milton, Gord Kratz, the longest-serving mayor in Canada currently?
Currently, yes, when Hazel McCallion from Mississauga called it a career. Gord Krantz, the only mayor I ever knew growing up in Milton, and a very good friend to Woodbine Mohawk Park.
Absolutely, great guy, and there's a reason that he's been in office that long. And the town of Milton, one of the, it certainly has been over the last 15 years or so, one of the fastest growing cities in Canada. And about 5 minutes down the highway from Campbellville, which is in stark contrast, a very tiny community where the property here at Woodbine Mohawk Park is situated. But good to have him on hand tonight and making the presentation to the Connection. So Kissing in the Sand, another strong season for trainer Nancy Tactor continues. We'll see her with a starter tonight later in that Mohawk Million. And a great season for Double J. Jody Jamieson kind of bouncing back in a big way.
Yeah, certainly, and that was a nice drive to pick up. Kissing in the Sand, of course, Kissing in the Sand this season has had a few different drivers, but Yannick Gingras driven a lot in the past. Dexter Dunn, Andy McCarthy had also sat behind her at different times. And, of course, Yannick Gingras has to go with Warby Butte. And Jody on the spot, you could call him, and gets the victory there.
All right, we're going to send it over trackside for some winning words.
5. 8th race coming up next, post time in 13 minutes.
2020 Milton final going to Kissing in the Sand in dominant fashion. Jody Jamieson scoring here for Nancy Tactor, who gets the stakes double on the program. And Jody, this is the hat trick for you in this race, but you know, congrats on that first. But this mare here tonight, I know last week you were told that she would maybe need a race. Well, how much better was she tonight?
Well, she clearly needed that race last week. I mean, she was so good coming off the rail and 25-3 on the end. I was just ultra confident in her, and we got to pick our post, obviously, with the win. So I just figured that we get away a little bit close and see how it panned out, and it worked out perfectly to get back to the lead. And you know, she just did the rest. Nancy and her team had her awesome tonight. She was unbeatable, really.
Down the stretch, I mean, she just seemed like, you know, she could go around again.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, too. She just jogged. I mean, 26-4 in the end, like breaking sticks. I mean, really just an amazing effort.
For you, is there anything better than winning Grand Circuit races?
Well, there's a couple of things. My birth of my kids, you know, Chad, but obviously, yeah, racing horses is the best, and winning Grand Circuit races is even better.
Good answer. All right, we're bringing in Marvin Katz here. Marvin, congratulations. You know, this mare is, as we know, so special. Another millionaire on your roster, and you know, she had to miss a little bit of time. Talk about, you know, the job Nancy's done just to get this mare back to how she looked here tonight.
Nancy Tactor doesn't need me to sing her praises, but this mare is entirely 100% due to Nancy Tactor. From the time she was a baby, developing her as a yearling, she's loved her. She actually came up here as a 2-year-old with her. Nancy and I have had 50 discussions about stopping with her, and it's Nancy who's insisted about, because we want to breed, of course, that she's good and great. Nancy loves this filly and deserves absolutely all the credit in the world for keeping this filly. And the performance tonight speaks volumes about Nancy Tactor.
Your confidence level must have been very high after you saw what she did last week.
It really was. I know that she was great when she first started, when she started in the year, early in the year. And then she started to kind of have some difficulties. And so when Nancy never lost faith in her, said that she's okay, just let's be patient. Of course, I'm saying let's stop, and I don't want to hurt her or anything. And of course, I was wrong. Nancy was right. And just a great, spectacularly great mare. She's had horrible post positions. You hear that all the time, but this mare really has. But this is a champion mare, and I'm so happy for it tonight.
I wonder if you can maybe just shed some light on this year as a whole. We know everything that we've gone through. And, for what we've been able to do here over the past 5 weeks, and you such a big supporter and such a big owner in this sport, how well it's turned out. And then now we're going to cap off a night tonight with $1 million Mohawk Million Trot.
I think the Mohawk Raceway deserves the applause and the appreciation of the entire harness racing industry. What you have put together here is the preeminent racing jurisdiction probably in North America. What you do every year is to be the most hospitable, the best racing, the most competitive racing, and you're to be acclaimed and thanked for it. As far as COVID and how it's done, how it's impacted the industry, it has. There's no question about it. But I think we've weathered it in reasonable fashion. Betting is up enormously in terms of across North America. I think there's been a resounding acknowledgement that there's a lot of love for this sport. There's a lot of interest in the sport. And I'd say we've come through it as well as anybody could have expected under the circumstance.
Well, thanks for your time. Congratulations and continued success, Marvin.
Thank you very much, Nancy. And to my partner, Bud Hadfield, we did it tonight.
All right, kissing in the sand. Crushes in the Milton final.
Launch 3 wide. Filly Hanover.
Dark Horse. Download the app today.
And we are back at Woodbine Mohawk Park, getting set for the Rich Metro Pace Final. A purse of $720,000 on the line, and just one of the many great stakes races we have here this evening on COSA-TV. The main event, of course, coming up later. The first ever edition of the Mohawk Million. Want to turn our attention to that while we have a moment. And the one horse that got in by virtue of winning the Wellwood Memorial this year was On a Streak. It was a mild upset victory, biggest career win for young driver Scott Young, and it sets the stage for him to compete tonight in his first ever $1 million race. Earlier this week we caught up to Scott to see if he's come down yet from Cloud 9.
Hi, I'm Scott Young. I'm driving On a Streak tonight in the Mohawk Million.
Battle continues. On a Streak is upset-minded. On a Streak upsets in the William Wellwood Memorial in 154-3.
My nerves are very good, actually. They weren't bad going into the Wellwood either. It's my job, so I'm here to do the best I can and make as much money as I can. But it's going to be exciting, to go for $1 million and right at Mohawk. Probably pumped up more than nervous. My approach would be the same, I would say. I have full confidence in my colt in the Wellwood, and obviously he performed to great expectations. But going into this race, I think he's he's definitely top 3. I think my colt's got a very, very good chance. And, if he shows up and I do my job, maybe I can be right back in the winner's circle. My reaction to winning the Wellwood was pretty surreal. Halfway down the lane, like I said in my interview, I wasn't sure if I was going to win, and then about a pylon before the wire, I said to myself, "You're actually going to win this race." So it was pretty crazy. The whole family was there, and to win a big race like that was obviously a dream come true, and hopefully the beginning of something. To try and win big races like that, and I was really excited, and hopefully we can continue. But the support's been fantastic. I think all of Ontario was cheering for me to win the Wellwood. I've had multiple texts, Facebooks, Instagrams, all that to congratulate me, and it's still going. Even it happened almost 2 weeks ago, and I come to the paddock every night, and there's someone new congratulating me on my win. So no, it's been great. To win the first edition of the Mohawk Million would be, I can't even put that into words. Just to be able to go for $1 million and be on that scene is one thing, let alone to win it. But to win it, they said they had to. They weren't sure if my head was going to fit in the paddock as it was after the Wellwood. I think if I won the $1 million one, it would be. They might definitely have a problem then.
Scotty Young just so happened to walk by as we were rolling the feature. So, he is pumped, and we wish him good luck. And we'll talk more about the Mohawk Million later. But first things first, 2-year-old colt pacers get the spotlight next. It is the Metro Pace, annually one of our favorite events of the season. And we're going to see the offspring of a couple of horses that were impressive past winners of this event. It appears to be something in the genes when it's horses like Control the Moment and Some Beach Somewhere, and how well represented they are coming into this year's edition. Both of those horses at the time, Mark, came into the race as highly rated, undefeated youngsters, and they did not disappoint.
No, they did not. This has always been a race that many would consider the launching pad to stardom, no doubt about it. Many times we come into the Metro Pace with a horse that is certainly pegged as the next big thing, but until you win the Metro Pace, you really can't take that title. And like you said, for example, Control the Moment, Some Beach Somewhere, they had yet to taste defeat, but when they won the Metro Pace, it certainly allowed them to take on that title of superstar. And we know what they went on to do in their careers. Like you talked about, this to me is probably my favorite race every single year, because it's one of those races where, like we said, a star is born. There's no doubt about that, and we've seen some thrilling additions over the years.
And this was $1 million race at one time, purse starting to creep back up. So, hey, there might be a day where we see a double bill of $1 million 2-year-old races, and wouldn't that be something? Just when we thought it couldn't get any better, perhaps.
Mohawk Millions night. There
absolutely.
I mean,
this is incredible what we've seen over this past month, and tonight is no exception. And the good news is that we've got the fantastic weather to go along with it. So we talked about potential records, and we've got some highly talented colts here this year who could threaten that record, which was set just last year by Tall Dark Stranger.
Yeah, huge mile last year, 49-1 in the final. I would think a buck-a-bet Hanover, with what we've seen from him to this point, he could certainly get in that sub-150 range.
Let's meet the field for this year's edition. And one of two sons of Control the Moment in the field. The first one is You Can't Touch This. Chris Christoforou will drive the Dustin Jones trainee. Dustin co-owns with Diane Lapine of Quebec. Another one, 0 for 9 this year, but certainly knocking at the door. Highly talented colt. He's going to break through one of these times. Will tonight be the night? Wouldn't his connections love to see that? And anyone that backs him would love to see it as well. He currently sits at long odds of 43-1.
Number 2, we will see in a moment, that is Exploit. Many of the same connections that teamed up to win the Little Brown Jug with Captain Barbosa. Exploit racing from the Tony Alania barn. Here's one, been very consistent, 2 for 7 on the year, constantly in the money. Doug McNair will do the driving. Of course, these connections probably had planned on teaming up with Pirate Hanover, who was the favorite in last week's first elimination, but a break due to a bit of an equipment issue, a scary one at that, is the reason that we will not see Pirate Hanover in tonight's Metro Pace final. So instead, McNair teams up with Exploit for Alania.
All right, so Tony Alania, he'll be well represented with not one but 2 starters in this year's edition of the Metro. And one of them will be this guy, the 1-9 choice on the board currently. And his name is a Buckabet Hanover, a son of first crop stallion betting line. He has looked phenomenal here on Canadian soil, winning 3 consecutive. Alanya Trains, Andy McCarthy doing the driving.
Highland Beach's best gave young trainer Amanda Fine such a thrill last week. Well, you imagine the thrill she'd have here tonight if this son of Some Beach Somewhere can come through and win the final. Trevor Henry driving.
Another son of Some Beach Somewhere, Bayfield Beach. He was a good third last weekend as a limb, finished right up with the top pair. His final quarter individually clocked in 25-4. Yannick Gingras will be back on board.
Got a quick look there at No Better Joy. The Kamenias team up there with this son of Better Than Cheddar. James McDonald does the driving.
7 is Twin Bee Fighter, a Better's Delight. Colt, Ed, and Ashley Hensley team up with this guy for Burke Racing, part of the ownership group on this guy. Another one that's winless this year, 6 starts. Couple of on the board finishes, $55,000 in the bank.
Lawless Shadow, Bob McClure, Dr. Ian Moore. They've had a lot of success together this year. Lawless Shadow has been part of it. He is 4 for 7, 6 top 2 finishes for that Son of Shadow play, and he is a Grand Circuit winner.
Just saw the Battle of Waterloo champion from this year, Better Son. Moments ago, Sylvain Filion on board. A model of consistency. He's missed the board only 1 time in 7 starts this year, almost $200,000 earned.
And there's quite a look at Control Heaven. Gelded Son of Control the moment Chantel Mitchell field, just 4 to this point, and maybe he's going to continue to develop, and if he takes another step forward here tonight, he could certainly be in the mix.
So as we mentioned earlier, 3 sons of Some Beach Somewhere, the past Metro champion in the field this year. Included is Bayfield Beach. Brian Brown, one of the top Grand Circuit trainers in North America, sends this guy out. Yannick Gingras will try and engineer the mild upset victory tonight, and earlier Jamie caught up.
Yannick Gingras joins us now just before the Metro final, leaving from post 5 Bayfield Beach. Now, how much power did this colt show you last week, coming home in 25-4?
Yeah, he was really good, actually. I didn't use him at all, so it probably helped a little bit, but he did have a lot of pace finishing, and he didn't have a whole lot of room up there on the inside, but I was really, really pleased with him.
And you won the Metro last year with Tall Dark Stranger. What would it mean to you to win it again this year, and does it give you that added confidence?
Well, it definitely would be nice to win it. Every time you win big races like that, you want to keep winning them. 1 time is good, 2 times is better, and 3 times even better. So it definitely would mean a lot for sure. That's what I'm here for, is for those big races. And I don't know about confidence and stuff. I have all the confidence in this horse. You got to forget about last year and just focus on tonight. But like I said, I have all the confidence in the horse.
And speaking of big races, race 10, the Mohawk Million. You have Instaglam leaving from post 9. What are your overall thoughts on this filly? You did qualify her back in June and sat behind her a few times.
Yeah, I actually loved the filly. Training down and baby racing, and she was always full of trot. Fortunately, in the Mary Annabelle, the Jim Doherty actually, she made a break in the last turn, and she was full of trot. She's a really, really nice filly. Of course, post 9 hurts us a little bit, but she's got enough gate speed to get involved, and we're not going to take back, that's for sure.
And this is your last weekend here up without your family. You crossed the wire once as a winner in $1 million race. What about tonight? What are your thoughts?
Oh, that'd be great for sure. It was my first $1 million race, and now that it's up the list, you know what I mean? Everybody say the second one's easier, so that'd be nice to win a second one tonight. Of course, like I said, the outside post, and it's a tough field of horses, but I feel like she has a chance.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
So nice to hear from Yannick Gingras earlier. He's looking for back-to-back Metro Pace titles. Love to hear who you think is going to win. Will it be a Buckabet Hanover? Will he reward those low odds at 1-5, or will somebody be ripe for the upset? Let us know wherever you're watching tonight, and great to have you all on board on our various social media platforms here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. As mentioned, Gingras, a past winner of the event last year with Tall Dark Stranger. The only other driver in the field who's won this race before Mark is driver Sylvain Filion. He's engineered a couple of upsets in previous years, and those came with Boom Boom Ballykeel back in 2013, and then in 2016 with Beyond Delight.
Yeah, a couple of those victories, obviously, on the surprising side. I mean, we talked about some of the superstars that have come from the Metro Pace, and not a knock on either Boom Boom Ballycue or Beyond Delight. They went on to have solid careers. Both went on to be those hard-knocking performers like we saw back in race number 6. But for Sylvain Filion, hey, they don't take it away from you what they go on, as long as you win the race. Doesn't matter what those horses go on to do. He had a job on that night, so he has engineered a few upsets in the past. It would be a big upset if he won from the far outside here with Better Sun. Already has a big win under his belt in the Battle of Waterloo. I think while coming into this year's edition of the Metro Pace, it might not look like the deepest group of 2-year-olds. It's early on, and I'm not sure across the board there are many that aren't in this race that would really make things interesting. Of course, Perfect Sting south of the border, he looks like maybe one of the best. But you know what? In this group, I think there's going to be several from here that we'll be talking about potentially next June when it's Pepsi North America Cup time. And a lot of these we've had a chance to watch here locally, and I think they show a ton of potential.
And just moments away from the start of this year's Metro Pace, a race that's got a lot of history to it now. It started back in 1988. We're pretty sure Billy O'Donnell will be watching the broadcast tonight, president of COSA, of course, and he won the first edition in 1988 with Totally Ruthless. At the time, the purse $491,000, and the Steve Elliott pupil, a winner that year in 55 and 3. Local connections in year 2 in 89. Blair Burgess, Trevor Ritchie teaming up with Road Machine in the $581,000 contest. And then the purse swelled to over $1 million. And I'm sure you remember the Metro from back in 2001 when Mach 3 was the first winner of $1 million event at the time at 151 and 4.
That was such a deep group of horses that went on to battle for a couple of seasons there, and then you even skip ahead a few more years, 2004, Rock and Roll Hanover, who was the first 2-year-old to ever break 150 when he pulled off what at the time was an upset score in the Metro Pace, and we know what an amazing career he went on to have. There's another example of what I talk about. Winning the Metro can really be that catapult to greatness.
And that was the richest edition that year. In Canadian dollars, the purse a little over $1.2 million. A solid $720,000 purse is up for grabs this year in the 2020 edition of the Metro Pace. An outstanding field of 10 2-year-old colt pacers are moving in behind the gate. And number 3, a Buckabet Hanover, continues to be the talk of the tote board. The betting line colt looking to make it 5 straight victories, 4 consecutive here on Canadian soil, and adding the lion's share of that $720,000 purse to his bankroll. Ken Middleton standing by with the race call.
Stakes Nassagaweya Champlain in a Metro elimination. And a good deal of the betting public thinks he can add the Metro final too. It's post time for the 8th race. $720,000 Metro Pace final. Group of 10 lined up, set for a start. Here they come. They're off and pacing. Leading speed at the rail from You Can't Touch This. Bayfield Beach in the center. Far outside, Lawless Shadow. Highland Beach is best into the mix between. Outside 5th, Twin Bee Fighter. 6th through at the rail is a Buckabet Hanover. 7th away, Left Out Exploit. Further back towards the inside is Control Heaven. Final 2 are No Better Joy. And the last one away is Better Sun. Over to the quarter in 26 flat. Lawless Shadow sped out of there. Here's Bayfield Beach with a pocket pop right now for Gingras. And Bayfield Beach scoots to the front. Back into second now. There rides along Lawless Shadow. You Can't Touch This. Closing up the gap into third. Highland Beach's best is 4th, 5th inside to Twin Bee Fighter. Underway 6 now. Starts up a Buckabet Hanover. Then it's Exploit on cover. Covered times 2 for Control Heaven. Final 2 in the field. No Better Joy. And last is Better Sun. The opening quarter 26, half and 55 and 1. A pretty sensible pace up front. Bayfield Beach has got the ball in his court going into the final turn. Right there in the pocket spot is Lawless Shadow. Third outside, a Buckabet Hanover. Outside 4th with cover, Exploit. You Can't Touch This. Gaps at the rail 5th. 6th outside to Control Heaven. 7th up on the move is No Better Joy. Trapped in, Highland Beach's Best along with Twin Bee Fighter. And last outside is Better Sun winding up. They're over to 3/4. McCarthy asking a buck a bet Hanover, as is Gingras on Bayfield Beach. Gingras got that 2-length lead coming out of the turn though. Bayfield Beach is upset minded. 3/4 in 1:22 and 4. A buck a bet Hanover's going to have to do more. He's on the outside spinning his wheels. Here off his cover though comes Exploit. And it's Exploit on the far outside. Exploit coming after Bayfield Beach in the final 8th of the mile. Bayfield Beach, and it's Exploit. Exploit is going to make the tote board explode. Exploit in 1:50 and 4 at 35-1, a Metro stunner.
Another huge Exploit getting it done from off the pace. And another massive upset this year in the Metro Pace Final as Exploit, one of the 3 sons of Some Beach Somewhere in the field, getting it done. There is the fist pump from an obviously happy driver, Doug McNair. Tony Alanya with 2 starters in the field, but it was the one that was expected to win, a buck a bet Hanover, coming up short. The long first over grind does not work out for him, but he tows stablemate Exploit right up into a perfect position. And he capitalizes, hauls down Bayfield Beach. Big effort from this guy. He did all the road work up front and just could not quite hold on over the last 50 feet or so as he gets picked off late. So it's Sons of Some Beach Somewhere finishing 1-2. Lawless Shadow, the Shadow Play colt, trained locally by Ian Moore and driven by Bob McClure, will round
Top
out
4 on the board.
your top 3. So a big 35-1 upset here for Exploit as he gets it done. He had been toiling in Lexington in recent starts in the Kentucky Sire Stakes events down there, finishing 3rd and 4th. He'd been a factor, but not winning. But tonight, a different story after that solid 4th place finish in the elimination. He's even better tonight, and he gets it done at 35-1, lighting up the tote board and putting his name in the Metro Pace history books. Woodbine Park track photographer Clive Cohen getting the shot, the candid shot from driver Doug McNair. Big victory for him, and he is all smiles, and understandably so. Let's take a quick break as he heads back into the winner's circle, and when we come back, we'll have the prices, pari-mutuel details for the Metro, and we'll get some words from the winning connections as well.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and trusted news source and the fastest growing publication in the game. HRU has you covered with award-winning features and commentary from some of the sport's best writers. Stellar photography, race news, results, entries, handicapping, and video replays. The industry's most comprehensive sales results and Harness Racing's best reader feedback section. And it's all delivered free of charge to your email box multiple times each week. See why HRU is the most trusted news source of the sport's most important people from all facets of the industry. Subscribe today for free. To subscribe, just go to harnessracingupdate.com and then click subscribe for free.
Okay. There's a look at Exploit, the son of Some Beach Somewhere, from the American Ideal mare Time on My Hands, and he is your 2020 Metro Pace champion, $165,000 yearling purchase. had just 26,000 on his card coming into tonight. He was on the fringes in recent starts, 4th in his elimination, and kicked home in 26-4. And I guess that's how far the breed has come, because you know, that 26-4 effort on the end and a 52 mile in the elimination was only good enough to land him odds of 35-1 tonight. But he pulls off the shocker, and there are the pair mutual details. 73.90 triggers a superfecta worth more than $6,378. Live money left in that pick 5 pool of 95,000, just a little over $205. So congratulations for anyone able to tab Exploit. And we're hearing through the grapevine that our colleague Garnet Barnsdale may have chosen him as his top pick. We'll try and clarify that, and if anyone knows, let us know on social media. And we're going to head over trackside here in just a moment. Chad Rosema is getting set to interview driver Doug McNair, who I'm sure is still all smiles after that Metro pace shocker.
Fireworks in the Metro final exploit, pulling off the huge upset. Here's the man that engineered it. It's Doug McNair, celebrating your first win in the Metro Pace. Congrats, buddy.
Thank you.
You must be pretty happy. You keep a pretty good relationship with this outfit.
Yeah, you know, they do a good job, you know. It's great to get to drive for them, and their horse showed up again tonight.
Yeah, take us through the trip and just how your horse was feeling coming off the last turn there.
Well, he was feeling real good. You know, we were following the best horse in the race, I thought, and I mean, we got away about 6 and 7, so I figured if we got out on the flow there, we get a pretty decent trip. And he swelled right up in the last turn. You know, he kind of surprised me a little bit when he blew by them all, but he raced great.
How will you celebrate a win like this?
Yeah, we're just talking about that. Me and Donna might put a little bit of whiskey in this trophy later.
Yeah, I don't know if she was saying whiskey. That might have been a little of
She's saying
you.
wine, I think.
Okay,
wine.
fair enough, fair enough. Congrats.
Thanks, Chuck.
Donna, we'll bring you in here. You know, Donna, this is a year that many of us will be happy when it's over. You guys, I mean, you're not going to want this year to end. My goodness, the way things are going.
No, I'm ready to leave. I've had enough. I've had enough. The COVID has really changed the whole atmosphere of racing for everybody, and I hate that I can be here, win the Metro, and my son's not here.
Yeah.
But you know, we got to do what we got to do. But I'm tickled to death that Colt won.
Bring me through the range of emotions just down the stretch, because you've got the heavy favorite, and you could tell he just didn't quite look on his game, but then here's the stablemate to pick up the pieces.
I was so shocked that a buck of bet didn't fire. I know there's something got to be bothering him. Something's wrong. But when I heard Exploit on the outside, and I'm going, oh my God, we're going to win anyway. Exploit's coming through. But I'm just shocked. It's been a night of strange happenings.
Well, it's been a big year for you guys, and there's still plenty left, and I know more big races. So I know you'll get right back to work, but try and enjoy this.
All right, thank you.
All right, there's Donna Lee handling the Alanya outfit here, and they're going to celebrate a big win in the Metro with Exploit. Doug McNair driving for LeBlanc and Cribs. Joe Sabraco in the gym partners, and Joseph Barbera.
Exploit on covered ×2 for control heaven.
COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free, and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSAonline.com.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming and your first bet is on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
A shot from high atop Campbellville, Ontario, about 45 minutes down the highway from Canada's largest. About 45 minutes down the highway from Canada's largest city of Toronto, Ontario. And Campbellville, the home of scenic Woodbine Mohawk Park. Also the home of the first ever Mohawk Million. Yes, $1 million US on the line tonight for 2-year-old Trotters. As we welcome you back to live coverage here on COSA-TV, Greg Blanchard, Mark McKelvey at the desk here this evening. And Mark, the Mohawk Million, we talked about it a little bit earlier this evening. A real week of buzz coming into the week. We weren't sure who was going to occupy the 9 slots that were available. We knew that one would be there for sure, and that was the Wellwood champion.
Of course, 9 slots were available for purchase at $110,000 each. They were sold back in February, so we knew who the 9 slot owners were this entire time, but ultimately it came right down to the deadline. It was Monday at noon when you had to declare your 2-year-old trotter. It could be one that you own. You could also cut a deal with those connections of maybe a top 2-year-old trotter. That's exactly what we have seen. And then from there, it was time to get down to business like you normally would. Time to start breaking down the race, handicapping, and the hype continues to grow. A unique concept. We've seen it in the other side of horse racing over on the thoroughbreds. Never done on the grand scale like this here in the standardbreds. It is a once-in-a-lifetime event, which we start here tonight, and maybe it'll continue on as this is just a fantastic opportunity here tonight. 1.3 million Canadian on the line.
Yeah, a beautiful night here as well for this late into September. It felt like a summer day here all day long, and tonight beautiful, no wind, temperature stayed nice and mild, and we are on a fast oval. So there is a chance we could threaten records tonight. And I think what is remarkable as well about the field is the fact that you've got 3 fillies taking on the boys, so a real added element.
Certainly is, and that's the thing. It's for 2-year-old trotters. Everyone knew those conditions, but I think even going back to when the race was announced, that was one of the first thoughts I had, is some of the spectacular trotting fillies we've seen over the past few years. We've seen them step up at 3 and beat the boys. Not too often at 2 do we ever get an opportunity like this, but how about this coming into tonight? The favorite, the projected favorite for the Mohawk Million is an undefeated filly, and it has been the year of the fillies to this point, and it could continue here tonight.
So some local connections that will be looking for big things as well include those of Warrawee Whisper. You've got young driver Jonathan Drury, who will be competing in his first $1 million race. Young trainer Sean Stacey in the midst of a career season. And Warrawee Whisper, he's winless in 6 coming in, but he's been knocking at the door and showing plenty of talent and looks like he could be a player here. Earlier this week, we stopped by the farm of Sean Stacey to find out more about this son of Trixton.
Hi, I'm Sean Stacey, and I'm training Warrawee Whisper for the Mohawk Million tonight. Well, after the Wellwood final, we felt that our horse had a good chance to compete with that caliber of horse. He raced really good, just got dragged out of the race zone. So we just hunted around, made a couple calls to a few different people just to see what was available. And my dad was able to talk to Jim Bullock, and after a little negotiating between the two of them, they came to a fair deal that allowed all of us to hopefully have a chance to make some money this week. Well, I'd have to say the overall feeling is just excitement. How can you not be excited to be in Canada's richest race now? You know, a wide open affair, I think, with a horse that has as good of a shot as anybody, and just to be a part of something like that is special. all-around individual. He's got a lot of character, just like I guess most good horses have. He plays a lot. Since he's become a gelding, he doesn't play hard like he used to. He used to be a little much to handle as a stud and didn't have too much focus at that time. Now that he's a gelding, he's able to conserve his energy at the right times, and that's what's kind of made him turn the corner to be a better horse on the racetrack too.
It's Majestic Sun. He won the Good Times, the Trotting Classic, and now the crown. It's Majestic Sun to win in 154 2/5.
Well, this horse, comparing him to a lot of the other good horses that we've had over the years is tough because he's so early on in his career. He hasn't defined who he is yet. He's hopeful, that's for sure. Hopefully after Saturday, he's the real deal. With COVID and everything happening this year, it's tougher, I believe, that it's gained outside interest. But within our business, I believe it's really looked upon right now. It's excited, it's anticipated to see if it's going to be a success or not. And the way it's shaping up, I can't see how it wouldn't be. It's a wide open race, it seems like. There's a couple that may have a little more favoritism than others, but I would think a lot of people in the race would say anything could happen on Saturday night.
Sean Stacey, one of the nice guys, one of the nice young guys in the sport, and certainly successful as well. He's building up a powerful stable. And War We Whisper, he hasn't won this year, but I wouldn't totally discount him, Mark. I think they're coming here with expectations of certainly being a major competitor.
Yeah, and that's the case. They were able to make a deal to get into this race. What I've seen from War We Whisper has been a very consistent performer. Like you said, doesn't have that wind under his belt yet. He might be a maiden. He's got 3 runner-up finishes. Top. All of his starts have come in either a series or a Grand Circuit race. He started in the Millard Farms, went to the Champlain, and then the Wellwood. So right from there, he has faced stiff enough competition. He's always held his own, and he's certainly one to take into consideration.
So that is the field for the Mohawk Million. 1.3 million Canadian will be on the line. It's coming up in race number 10 as we welcome you back live. And a special welcome to the folks watching in on the Woodbine Entertainment Group. Oh, if you're just joining us, Mark, maybe we'll catch people up on what has happened so far. It's been an action-packed night full of stakes championship finals so far. And the She's a Great Lady had high drama, the horse who actually won the race, ending up DQ'd.
Disqualified back to 9th with Scarlet Hanover for causing interference coming down the stretch. It was a mad scramble. The finish, Scarlet Hanover was locked in, was in the 2-hole, crying for a racetrack, looking for room up the rail. Andy McCarthy going right then left, and just a slight bit of interference to horses in mid-pack ended up being the reason to seeing her disqualified. And then Caviar Audrey, who was second, getting vaulted up and taking home the winner's share of that massive $455,000 purse.
So ultimately the favorite gets promoted into the win spot there. Winning favorite in the Milton as well, Kissin' in the Sand. She was the runner-up last year, so good in the final to Caviar Alley. She upends that 2-time defending champion tonight with a thoroughly dominant victory. And then the big upset just moments ago in the Metro.
Exploit, Doug McNair for trainer Tony Alania. Alania's dream season continues. Just a couple days ago, won the Little Brown Jug. He won the Hambletonian earlier this year. And for Doug McNair, one of the biggest wins of his career, no doubt about that, as it's Exploit, 35-1, major upset.
All right, and a few good overnight races sprinkled in amongst those stakes action here tonight as well. We've got one of those coming up here in race number 9. In fact, they're already out onto the track and just moments away from moving in behind the starting gate here in race number 9. It's a group of fillies and mares, non-winners of $12,000 in the last 5. So these are familiar faces to those that watch the circuit regularly. And you've got some really top-class mares, including Sunny D in here, Does she finally find a winning spot, in your opinion?
You'd have to think so. There's been a lot of tough trips for her this season, and it's always tough for a 4-year-old to transition into that older ranks. And for Sunny D, she failed to qualify for the Milton Stakes final. She was the also eligible, did not get a chance to race, but here could be a big opportunity for her. I am certainly taking her into full consideration here tonight, and of course, looking over my shoulder to the betting board, no surprise to see her taking the public support. She's currently even money.
All right, we'll get a look at some of the horses out on the track here for this upcoming 9th race. And there is Lady Rock and Roll and Jonathan Drury. We talked about him moments ago. So he'll be competing in the Mohawk Million. It'll be a big moment for him, no question. So getting a few drives under your belt here tonight, you know, just to get the nerves out of the way, I'm sure will go a long way.
It definitely does, and for Jonathan Drury, it's been a good year, no doubt about that. Always has lots of success here, especially being the main man for trainer Carmen Osciello. For Drury, though, he raced in the Pepsi North America Cup back on August 29th, made his $1 million race debut there, got a 3rd place check, so you have to think he's got a lot more confidence.
Absolutely, and that'll go a long way, I'm sure, as we near the first ever edition of the Mohawk Million. But before that, high-end condition pacing mares moving behind the gate for race number 9. Ken Middleton, the voice of Woodbine Mohawk Park, with the call.
And to kick off the late pick 4, even money on 6, Sunny D. Winless in 11 on the year coming in. She gets in with a softer group than she's faced in quite some time tonight. We'll see if she can take advantage of it. It's post time for the 9th race. Ninth race field, picking up speed, here they come. Often pacing, sharp start down the center for Sunny D. Coming out with her is Don't Stop Believin', sandwiched in between is Sylph Hanover. From the rail, Jimbalina to 4th, 5th outside to Sand Between Your Toes. In at the railway, 6th is Hello Love. Then Born a Dragon, 7th. 8th away to Village Jamie. Lady Rock and Roll in 9th, and taken back to trail from 10th is Sunday Afternoon. Over to the quarter, Sunny D. Found the motor tonight, she leads the way. She's 2 lengths better than pocket sitter Don't Stop Believin', a hustled quarter of 26 and 4. Sylph Hanover sitting 3rd. Back into 4th, Jimbalina. From the inside, Hello Love is 5th. 6th to Sand Between Your Toes. Born a Dragon 7th. 2 lengths back to Village Jamie. A length and a half to Lady Rock and Rolla, and the trailer is Sunday Afternoon. They continue up towards the midway point. Here's Sylph Hanover to issue a and driving after Sunny D. 4-5 favorite, and joined outside by Sylph Hanover, half and 54 and 4. Heading into the final turn, it is Sunny D on top, leading it just over a length. Outside pressure from Sylph Hanover, 2nd now. Pocket sitting Don't Stop Believin' is 3rd. Jimbalina to the rail from in 4th. Overland 5th comes Hello Love. 6th inside to Sand Between Your Toes. Opening up a 2 to now 3-length lead is Sunny D. Sunny D powers away from them now at 3/4. She's over there in 1:21 and 3, 26 and 4, 3rd quarter kicked out. Sunny D steamrolling into the stretch. Back into 2nd is Don't Stop Believin'. Now off cover, Hello Love. Rolling from the backfield, Born a Dragon, and up the inside, Jimbalina. It is Sunny D clear by 5. Late speed outside from Born a Dragon. Sunny D's almost there. Born a Dragon, late speed outside closing. Sunny D at the rail. It's Sunny D. She'll hold on. Sunny D to win by 3/4 of a length. Born a Dragon 2nd. Hello Love 3rd. Close for 4th in 1:50.
Put it up through here. And Sunny D finally breaks out after a long winless skid to start her 2020 campaign. 0 for 11 coming in, and the champion mare gets it done here with authority in 150. So the drop in company, just what the doctor ordered for this 4-year-old daughter of Sunshine Beach, a winner in her lifetime of $632,000. And we'll see if that is a confidence builder for the mare as we go forward into the late portions of 2020. Needed the wire though at the end after those solid fractions, 3/4 in 1:21 and 3, getting a little bit tired late, but she'll hold on. Born a Dragon will come flying late and make it interesting at least, but Sunny D does break out with that long overdue victory. Driver Trevor Henry here teaming up for the co-owner and trainer Bob McIntosh. So we'll have the prices coming up from there in just a moment as you're watching live coverage of Mohawk Million Night here on COSA-TV from beautiful Woodbine Mohawk Park. And it is a picture-perfect night here. And speaking of pictures, coming back to get hers taken for the first time this year, there she is, the good-looking Sunny D, that daughter of Sunshine Beach. Really has been a struggle this year, and we see that from time to time. For mares moving into the 4-year-old season, it's a big step up against open type company, seasoned veterans, and it's taken her a little while to get her legs under her, but tonight she puts it all together for that 150 victory.
9th race winner is back at 6th.
And again, we're watching live coverage tonight, getting set for the first ever edition of the Mohawk Million. And I've got the CEO of the Woodbine Entertainment Group joining me here. He'll be getting set to stand by in studio with us here in just a moment. Again, we want to welcome all of the viewers tuning in around North America and around the world for that matter tonight. We're on several social media platforms, including the COSA-TV Facebook page. I want to thank the folks at Harness Racing Update for distributing the feed tonight on their platform as well. The folks from Standardbred Canada are streaming it live on their website, and the folks at the Woodbine Entertainment Group on their Facebook feed are taking us tonight as well. They picked up the feed for the final hour of our coverage, and again, the main event is that Mohawk Million. It is a unique format, and I'm pleased to welcome in now the CEO of the Woodbine Entertainment Group joining us, Jim Lawson. And Jim, it was about a year ago when this concept was announced, and boy, a year really has flown by, but tell us how the idea was first born.
Well, it was initially a discussion that we were having with John Campbell and the Hamiltonian Society. I think they wanted to look at this sort of format and see if it could get some legs, and we just had some logistical hurdles, and I went to our board and Jessica Buckley, and we all got together and said, you know what, we should try it. If you don't try, you'll never know.
Sure.
So thanks to the great work of Jessica and her team, Bill McClinchy, and pulling this all together, the rules together, then doing the sales, which was a next big step. It all came together, and here we are, and it's really exciting. I think it's such a tremendous step for the industry, and I've got my fingers crossed that we can do it again next year.
Sure. And, you know, trying to sell slots for $110,000, you know, easier said than done perhaps, but what was that process like?
Well, it was a case of identifying the obvious suspects who we know have a lot invested in the industry and talking to them, and listen, this is a great industry in terms of the support and people coming together, and I think they all recognize what a great thing this was for the industry. It had an impact on the yearling sales, of course, last year, as we saw. And I think it's a tribute and a big thank you to the horse owners who purchased the slots, because I think they did it not just for themselves, but they did it knowing that it was a great thing for this industry.
Was there ever a point, Jim, where there was concern this event might happen this year with the COVID situation?
Yeah, certainly it's a good question at two levels. Number one, just initially, like where were we at when we stopped racing here in March? That was certainly something that we had to not only be worried about the entire season, but we also had to worry about the impact on our stakes schedule, horses being ready for a race like this for 2-year-olds. Then there was certainly a secondary concern, which is U.S. drivers, horses traveling across the border. We really had a concern, I would say, early summer about how that was all going to work out. So there was a couple of phases in concern, but thank goodness we're here tonight. It's a great night, and it's been great racing all night, so it's fun.
Yeah, and maybe talk about the plans you had. I mean, under ideal circumstances, you guys were planning to really pull out all the stops for this. So, I'm sure there's a little bit of disappointment that you can't execute it the way you had wanted to. But on the other hand, the event's really generated the kind of buzz, I think, industry-wide that you were hoping for.
Yeah, certainly two things. On the first point, I know that we wanted from Woodbine Entertainment to thank all the owners, and we were planning to put on a great show as hosts, and Jessica Buckley and her team had been planning that for some time, and very disappointed as a result of COVID that we couldn't host a big event and be good hosts to these owners who have been so gracious to step up and help us. So that is the downside. The upside is the event is going on. It has created a lot of buzz throughout the industry. We're wagering well tonight. A lot of eyes are on, Greg, as you said. So it's fun, and I'm thrilled to be here. And there's a nice buzz in the air, notwithstanding there aren't many people here tonight.
Yeah, and that brings me to my last question. I wanted to ask you about that. Even though we're in strange times, there's been an opportunity, I would say, for Woodbine Entertainment to really step to the forefront in the industry. And I know there was a lot of stress and just getting racing back and conducting it safely. But since then, wager's been strong, a regular presence on national TV, and events like this. Does it kind of rejuvenate you after what I'm sure was a really trying spring?
Well, we're all very thankful to be where we're at, and it took, again, a lot of sacrifice, compromise, not only on the part of our employees, but all of the horse people. And just saying tonight, as we're looking at the second wave, if we can call it that, of COVID, that I think the horse community is again recognizing just how important it is to keep live racing going. And so it's, I just hope we continue to do the right thing. We've been, as an industry and as a company, we've been very conservative in trying to do the right thing, and it's paid off with the live racing. It's put us in the limelight. I think it's helped our credibility with government. It's helped our credibility with horse people. So let's hope we can keep this going all year and keep the eyes on Woodbine. You mentioned Racing Night Live. We're hoping to come back on TSN in mid-October, which again would be great for the industry overall. So we're working on that currently, and let's. And so happy to give all the horse people whose livelihoods depend on this, and our customers, this live racing product that we've had.
Yeah, I know all the horse people certainly in this part of the world very thankful to you and your team for all the work you've done in getting racing back going and then able to conduct it safely all summer long. And I know you've been vocal recently. You want to be the #1 racing jurisdiction in North America, and certainly making some strides toward that this summer. Thanks for joining us, Jim.
Great. Hope everyone, this is exciting coming up.
It
so look forward to it. Appreciate your support this year too.
Excellent. Thanks again. That's Jim Lawson, the CEO of the Woodbine Entertainment Group, hoping this is going to be just the first of many editions of the Mohawk Million. Let's take a quick commercial, and when we come back, it's time to meet the field.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU covers the sport from all angles with news, features, photography, opinion, and analysis of racing. Also, HRU covers breeding and sales, as well as industry stories you need to know. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. And the best news is that it's free to subscribe. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com and see what everyone is talking about.
The Breeders' Crown. Harness Racing's richest and most prestigious championship series, featuring $6 million, will compete over 2 nights at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. Join us Friday, October 30th and Saturday, October 31st, 2020 for the 37th edition of the Breeders' Crown.
And welcome back as we are inching closer to the main event on this power-packed Saturday night program here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. It is the first edition of the Mohawk Million. The purse, $1 million US. 3 fillies taking on 7 of the boys in this inaugural edition of what they hope will be a long-time event here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Donna Soprano, she will be the likely favorite in here. She's the undefeated filly, sent out by Commissioner Luke Blais. Bob McClure will be on board doing the driving. Scott Young with the stablemate on a streak. He got his invite here through winning the Wellwood Memorial. So 2 entrants in the field, compliments of trainer Luke Blais and owner Determination. One of the other horses that we want to have a look at is Instaglam. Instaglam will occupy the outside post in the field with Yannick Gingras doing the driving. For trainer Nancy Tactor, the Tactor name certainly synonymous with trotting greatness in North America. She is enjoying an outstanding season on the training side. And earlier, we caught up with her this week to find out more about this talented filly.
Instaglam closing. Anoka Hanover on the far outside. Wild finish. Oh, it's too close.
It's an exciting race for the sport. It's something a little bit different, and hopefully it'll be a good race, and we can showcase some of these 2-year-olds, and it'll be something that can continue in the future. She's a really nice filly. She's had a little bit of poor racing luck the last 2 starts. In the PA Sire Stake final, I thought she was actually probably one of the better fillies in there, but she just kind of got away far back, and it's hard to make up any ground at Poconos. And, the start prior to that, she had set a new track record at Chester in 54 flat, and it was definitely not a fast track that day. So, she's been racing really good. She raced really good at the Meadowlands last time when she dead heated, but she was far back in that race too, and it was just kind of one of those odd races where there was a horse loose on the lead and there was a lot of wind and stuff that night. So she's been racing really good, and I just feel like she was the horse that was probably the safest card going into a race for $1 million. I think especially 2-year-old trotting fillies, they're a little bit more precocious than maybe the 2-year-old trotting colts are at this stage. I think, come October, November, maybe the colts are a little bit tougher to beat. But at this time of the year, I think that the fillies are just a little bit earlier in development than a lot of the colts are. I couldn't really be anything other than satisfied. My team's done a great job. We've had to do a lot of maneuvering. Things have been a little bit different this year. Yosert's done a great job up in Canada with, holding the fort down up there for us. And, it's definitely been a challenge. Everybody's kind of had to go a little bit out of their comfort zone and, just to kind of get things done that needed to be done. But, my team's done an excellent job. It's been an excellent year for us so far. And, I look forward to the fall. I think we have some big things yet to come. So definitely an exciting season for sure.
All right, a big thank you to Nancy Tactor. And Mark, you appreciate this, always accommodating to the media. We had her, I believe that was last night at Hoosier Park. She was down there just getting ready to warm up horses, so we're able to get her on her cell phone to shoot that feature. So again, big thank you to her. Of course, her horses, or her brigade up here in Canada under the care of Joseph Fonseca, who's done a wonderful job operating her stable here north of the border, and you have to have a lot of confidence coming into these big races to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, with the times, there was a big commitment made by the Tactor stable. I've had a lot of opportunity to speak with Yozert over the last several weeks. He's just done a fantastic job, and he talked about just making sure that nothing really changed. They just continue on the trail with how business would be south of the border for the Tactor stable. They've done a great job. They've had lots of success, and it could all be capped off here tonight with another $1 million victory.
And a big night for Nancy so far, already with a couple of victories, and would love to add one here, although it would be considered, I think, a mild upset. Post position will be tricky for her filly, but certainly lots of talent there, and you never discount a Tactor when it comes to these big races. All right, we'll take another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about the first ever Mohawk Million.
COSA.
The Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSAonline.com.
We are coming to you live from Woodbine Mohawk Park, our final Saturday night show in what has been a September to remember. We dubbed it that coming in, and it's lived up to the billing. And we're capping it off, of course, in style with the first ever Mohawk Million. I want to show you this quick program insert, Mark. Wonderful, glossy inside addition to tonight's race program, featuring all of the owners who purchased slots. So it's a bit different. The owners had the slots, but don't necessarily own the horses that are occupying them.
Exactly, so that is the case. The slot owner is the one putting up $110,000. Now, none of the slot owners sold their slot. They might have made some deals and they're racing a horse that they don't own in their slot, but all 9 slot owners that purchased them back in February retain them. And of course, they deserve a lot of the credit. You heard from Jim Lawson, you need the support. And obviously taking the opportunity in the program here tonight, partnered up with Dave Briggs and Sportswood, and we were able to create a nice little commemorative program there, which of course all the slot owners will get a copy of that as well. And along with a real nice painting that was unveiled earlier tonight. If you haven't seen it, head on over to @WoodbineSB on Twitter, and there you can see the official Mohawk Million painting. It was unveiled tonight, and all the slot owners and the owners of the horses in the race are going to receive a print.
Alrighty, and it looks like they are getting ready to come out to the track. I see the parade marshal out there, Joanne Colville. Nice donation going to OSAS, who she is a big part of that, the Ontario Standardbred Adoption Society. We had an ongoing promotion throughout the month, and our colleague Chris Roberts, the first of our handicappers, our guest handicappers, that was able to click for a few dollars earlier tonight. And again, a nice donation going to them. But in her double duty tonight, she's the parade marshal for the first ever edition of the Mohawk Million. So we're going to have a nice staggered post parade and get a good individual look at the field. Before we get a look at them out on track, let's take another look at the field page and see how they are going to line up for this inaugural edition. Reminding you that post 10 is a trailing spot, so 9 on the gate and 1 from the second tier in this spot. And again, 3 fillies taking on 7 boys, something that's really unique to the sport as well.
Certainly is, especially at the 2-year-old divisions. That's not exactly where you're going to usually see the fillies take on the colts. Donna Soprano, Alter, and Instaglam, your 3 fillies, and they'll look to keep the good times rolling here in 2020 for the fillies. There's been lots of success, not only on the standardbred side with Ramona Hill winning the Hamiltonian, but over on the thoroughbred side, especially here at Woodbine Entertainment, Starship Jubilee last weekend winning the Woodbine Mile.
So will the Metro Pace from earlier tonight be a good omen for Doug McNair? Exploit had come in racing in the Kentucky Sire Stakes and had mixed results there, but he pulled the big shocking upset in the Metro. Doug hoping the same profile will be a winning one for this one. The number 1 in the field is No Good AMS, and son of Muscle Hill from the Conway Hall mare, Beauty of Grey. The mare, she made $200,000 in 16 starts in her career. This is her 3rd foal. All have been good racehorses to this point in their career. So we'll see if this guy can step up like we saw earlier tonight from the Metro Pace champion. Winless in 6, but 3 runner-up finishes and improving with each and every start. Courant Inc. had the slot, and they, in fact, are the owners of this one, trained by Marcus Melander.
Next up in a moment, we will continue on with the post-parade as you get a great look at these rookies. It'll be interesting to see how they react to this style of a post-parade. Here is number 2, Warrawee Whisper. Mark Stacey, Natasha Rive, Stephen Klinowski, and Dr. Michael Wilson share ownership of this gelded son of Trixton. Sean Stacey trains. Jonathan Drury does the driving for Warrawee Whisper. Winless in 6 starts, as we talked about. All 6 starts have come in added money events. The Millard Farms, the Champlain, the William Wellwood, where he finished 5th in the final. Looking for that first win. This would be quite the moment if he can deliver here in the Mohawk Million, and he is racing in the spot of Jim Bullock's Glengate Farms.
And there's Natasha Rive, caretaker and co-owner, and I was getting a Tim's large tea before the show tonight out in the main lobby and ran into her there, and boy is she excited, but her nerves are holding up well, and we wish them good luck. Here's a look at Trevor Henry next, as they're a little bit out of order in the post parade. He'll be on board full of muscles, a muscle mass gelding for trainer Brad Maxwell. This one will occupy the slot that was purchased by Dreamland Farms of New Jersey, and this guy was a $140,000 yearling purchase from the London Selected Sale.
Donna Soprano, as she did in the Peaceful Way, is going to post-parade last, is my likely guess there. So it gets us a little out of order, which means next up we'll meet number 5, Alter. Alter races for Diamond Creek Racing. They also bred this filly. They had the slot, so it's all in the family for Adam Bowden's Diamond Creek Farm. Perringblom trains, Jody Jameson drives, daughter of Muscle Hill, 2 for 5, and she will make her first start since August 8th in the Jim Doherty Memorial.
And one of the largest commercial breeding establishments in Canada is Sealster Farms from London, Ontario. And they're well represented here by Tokyo Sealster, a son of Cadabra from the top OSS mare Time Out Time Out. She was a stakes champion here in the province, conditioned by Wayne Henry at the time. Richard Moreau trained, Sylvain Filion doing the driving, and this one occupying the slot that was purchased by Manhattan-based businessman and prominent standardbred owner Jeff Snyder.
Number 7 is On a Streak. He punched his ticket to the Mohawk Million by winning the William Wellwood Memorial. Scott Young, the biggest race of his career, just a couple of weeks after the biggest win of his career, drives for Luke Blade. Determination, $155,000 Lexington Select purchase was this son of Cantab Hall. 1 for 6, 5 top 3 finishes, looking to make it back-to-back scores in rich events.
The number 8 in the field, Bravado Fashion, owned by Fashion Farms of New Hope, Pennsylvania. Arlene and Jules Siegel were the proprietors of that farm. Jules in the Harness Racing Hall of Fame. Jim Campbell's been their trainer for a number of years, and they've had tremendous success together. They purchased the slot and occupy it with this son of Bar Hopping. Just a one-time winner this year, but it came last time out in Lexington, and he was a $150,000 Lexington purchase as a yearling.
Instaglam, the 3rd filly in the field, daughter of Father Patrick, owned by Goran Falk and Christina Tactor. Nancy Tactor looking to keep the big night going. Yannick Gingras drives. This horse races in the spot of prominent owner John Fielding. 4 for 7 is this daughter of Father Patrick.
And occupying the slot that was purchased by one of the certainly most prominent owners in Canada, Brad Grant. His name is Venerate, a son of the French champion Love You, and he's produced champions all over the world in many different countries. He's produced a Prix d'Amérique winner, an Elite Lop winner, the sire of International Money, who was a top performer here in North America, and FaceTime Bourbon, among others. Venerate, a $90,000 Lexington purchase. Julie Miller trains. Andy McCarthy will steer.
And here's a look at the undefeated filly, Donna Soprano. She is 5 for 5 to this point. Daughter of Donato Hanover, was a $190,000 Harrisburg purchase. She's a daughter of millionaire Donato Hanover and millionaire Winsong Soprano, regally bred. She's just been fantastic through 5 starts. Determination. Serge Godin purchased this slot back in February. He puts the filly in here tonight, racing for $1.32 million. Luke Blay trains. Bob McClure, the leading driver here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, will look for his first $1 million win.
For a number of years, driver Trevor Henry dominated the B-track circuits in Ontario, and then finally made the move to the Woodbine Entertainment Group circuit, and he has become one of the very best reinsmen in Canada annually. And this will be a big moment for him coming up in race number 10 tonight. He'll be on board number 4, Full of Muscles, for local conditioner Brad Maxwell. Earlier, Jamie caught up with Trevor to find out more about his charge in the Mohawk Million.
Trevor Henry joins us now, leaving from post 4 in the Mohawk Million with Full of Muscles. What are your overall thoughts on your starter tonight?
He's a nice colt. I've driven him before. Bit of a late bloomer. I think it'd be better now. He raced really good last week. He left hard and he got through and raced really well. I think he has a shot in here tonight.
And he is still looking for his first win, so what would it mean to you to come tonight?
Oh, it'd be great if it came tonight, but I don't know. We're hoping as long as we get money, that's the main thing. And like I say, if you get lucky sometimes, these young trotters, anything can happen.
And there is some tough competition, like you had mentioned. What do you think about stake races where the boys and girls race against each other?
Oh, I think it's all right if people are willing to race their fillies against colts if they think they're good enough. You might as well. If you can get in there and get the money, you might as well take it.
Thanks for joining us here on COSA-TV, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Trevor Henry, he is a cool customer. And boy, when he made the move to this circuit, a lot of people wondered how he would fit in. Well, he fit in like a glove, and he's annually one of the top 4 or 5 drivers in the country, and he's on board a 17-1 shot, who I think, like many in here, Mark, if you can look past the filly, Donna Soprano, if you think she's vulnerable, you could go almost anywhere.
Yeah, you certainly could. I love the race that Full of Muscles came through with last week. He was absolutely flying on the end of his mile. He just missed Logan Park, coming up just a head short in that OSS Gold event. He might be the kind of horse that's really finding his best stride. We saw there's a look at On a Streak go into the Wellwood without a win, and he walked out the winner. So it doesn't really mean too much, I don't think, for some of these horses that are winless. I think they can certainly be contenders, and they can be a factor. We got to give the love to Donna Soprano. She's just been flawless to this point. But, as we say, anything can happen in horse racing, and she is taking on boys for the first time. I think she's certainly capable of it. I think she might even, on her best day, be maybe a whole second faster than most of this field, but it's a horse race, and anything could happen.
All right, maybe we'll get the guys in the truck to pull up that board we looked at earlier tonight, which denoted the speed records. And, I think the records could be threatened here when it comes to the 2-year-old trotters. We've talked about it earlier. Really nice night weather-wise for this time of year in Ontario, and the fact that we've got the talent on the racetrack that could give these records a scare. The 2-year-old colt trotter mark nationally belongs to Alarm Detector, 152-4 back in 2017, and the Great Filly Mission Brief, the fastest in Canadian history for a 2-year-old filly, 52-1 back in 2014. For Donna Soprano, not a big stretch to see her flirt with those kind of times.
No, 153-3 was her mile in the Peaceful Way, a race that she won by 4 lengths, just a little over 4 lengths, and she was absolutely wrapped up. She could have gone even more there. We'll see how this race plays out. There could be a lot of early speed. It's $1 million on the line. Someone is going to take a shot. Venerate, coming back on 6 days rest, he raced Sunday afternoon the Kentucky Sire Stakes Championship, a race that he was just superb in. He dominated, winning by 3 lengths almost in 151-4. That's huge speed. Of course, that's over the clay surface at the Red Mile, but there's even more on the line. That afternoon he's racing for $250. Tonight it's $1 million. Everybody's going to take their shot, and we could see a Canadian record set in this Mohawk Million. One thing I can tell you, Greg, we're going to set a stakes record.
That's for sure. Moments ago, we just saw Scott Young. He had the moment of his life recently when he won the Wellwood Memorial, and that punched his ticket into this $1 million contest tonight, and he'll be reunited with On a Streak, and he is supremely confident in his charge coming in. One of 2 sent out by Determination and trainer Luke Blais. The eyes of the harness racing world are on Woodbine Mohawk Park, the inaugural edition of the Mohawk Million. 2-year-old trotters, an outstanding field of 10 assembling behind the starting gate. The man who will call the action is the voice of Woodbine Mohawk Park, Ken Middleton.
Talented 2-year-old trotters. It's the co-ed Mohawk Million. As we've got trotting fillies taking on the boys, and it is the filly who is the talk of the tote board at 3-5. Bob McClure's aboard, that Luke Blais trainee. Donna Soprano coming in She'll take on 9 others. The gate swings into the stretch for the inaugural Mohawk Million. Here they come. Gapped off start for the 1 is no good AM. They're off and trotting. Big start in the center. Tokyo Sealster trots out. So too does On a Streak. Even wider Instaglam from the inside is Alter. Trotters are motoring going into the turn. Tokyo Sealster in the center, joined at the inside by Alter, pushing out closer to the rail. That's Full of Muscles, stacked up 4 wide going into that turn for a moment was On a Streak. They trot over to the quarter, and it's Alter at 20-1 to find the lead for Jameson in 27 flat. Here on the outside comes On a Streak, powering up now for Young. Back into third is Full of Muscles, gap of 3. Tokyo Sealster fourth, 5th inside there, trots along Instaglam. Donna Soprano, the favorite, out of trouble in the early going behind this wicked speed as she is back into 6th. 7th popping out is Venerate, scooting through is War We Whisper, and then it's back at the inside to find Is No Good AM. Field up to the midway point. On a Streak leading it by just over a length. Alters in the pocket spot. Now with a rush comes Instaglam. And Instaglam has got the hammer down for Gingras, sweeping up to take the lead. Half in 56-1. On a Streak surrenders that top spot. Goes back into second now. Third at the rail is Alter. Overland from in fourth, Donna Soprano. Further back, 5th inside, trots Full of Muscles. And with the cover, Venerate up into 6th. They're on their way to 3/4, and it's Instaglam by 3. Back in second, On a Streak. Third outside, Donna Soprano still with work to do. 3/4 in 1:24, 27-4, third quarter. Coming into the stretch, that one's got a sting. Instaglam. Instaglam after that 27-4 third quarter gives way. And it's Donna Soprano right by. Here to the outside comes Venerate now. And Venerate takes dead aim. Venerate is trotting up a storm on the outside for McCarthy in deep stretch. Fighting on is Donna Soprano right to the end. But Venerate gets the upper hand. Venerate scores in the Mohawk Million by a length over the filly. Donna Soprano, third best was On a Streak in 1:53 2/5.
Big win for the Pinsky Stables owner Andy Miller, trainer Junie Miller, and Andy McCarthy. If you were watching all evening long, a disappointment to start the night for McCarthy. He won and was disqualified in the She's a Great Lady back in race number 5. Well, no mistakes here in the first edition of the Mohawk Million. And Venerate scores a measured victory over the filly Donna Soprano. A big effort from the filly, first up into that torrid third quarter of the race. She took over command but could not hold off this Son of Love You, who was a $90,000 Lexington yearling purchase, adds a little over 650,000 Canadian to his bankroll, and really chilly steer from Andy McCarthy here. That was a measured victory, no doubt about it, and full marks for the win. So Venerate now 4 for 7 on the season, by far his richest payday, and you know the connections are going to be all smiles with this one. Brad Grant, local owner, had the slot up for grabs, and it is Venerate who occupies that slot and overcomes the trailing post. And I think what was really impressive here is how these youngsters all minded their manners. They were all quite professional throughout the race, and it's Venerate, and he gets it done with the bit still in his mouth. He is a special looking individual, and we look forward to seeing more from him down the road. So he is the winner of the first ever Mohawk Million from right here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. We will take another quick commercial, and when we come back, we'll have prices and words from the winning connections.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus 1 month free live race streaming on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
The Breeders' Crown. harness racing's richest and most prestigious championship series, featuring $6 million, will compete over 2 nights at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. Join us Friday, October 30th and Saturday, October 31st, 2020 for the 37th edition of the Breeders' Crown.
And there is a look at winning driver Andy McCarthy, Brad Grant, who had the winning ownership slot, Jim Lawson, the CEO of the Woodbine Entertainment Group, making the presentation as well. We heard from Jim earlier, of course, excited to finally see this first edition come to fruition during challenging times and challenging circumstances. And it was a lot of fun this week to watch the jostling as we were wondering who was going to be occupying these slots that were purchased for $110,000 each. There had to be some deals made for horses to get here, and Venerate was the one that took the slot that had been purchased by owner Brad Grant. So he's in the winner's circle. And again, Andy McCarthy, nice to see him atone for some misfortune earlier in the night in a stakes final. And overall, he's had some tremendous luck here north of the border. And Venerate, he was 2-1, slightly second choice in the wagering, getting it done for his connections. And Venerate now with the 4th win this season. We mentioned the breeding sired by Love You. Love You, a French champion who has gone on to produce champions all around the world. In fact, has champions in 6 different countries. And we mentioned a few of them, including the Prix d'Amérique winner, Royal Dream, the Elite Lop winner, Nahar, just to name a few. Here are the pari-mutuel details. Venerate and Andy McCarthy returning 680, upending Donna Soprano on a streak 3rd, so a 2-3 finish for Team Determination. They'll be happy with that. Instaglam, really good effort for her, an impressive move to the front, big 3rd quarter, tired a little bit late, but a highly talented filly. The pick 5 payout, a little over $2,500. Nice return in that. And in your late pick 4, a little over $8,500 in live money remains in that, as the Mohawk Million is now in the books. And there is the winner's trophy, and a very happy Andy McCarthy celebrating another major stakes win here in Canada. So certainly the richest race in North America for trotters this year will be the Mohawk Million, and we certainly hope that this will be the first of many. It's a unique, interesting format that drew a lot of interest, and especially this week, I think there was a lot of buzz created around it. And the 10 trotters who lined up here tonight certainly did not disappoint. We've got Andy McCarthy over in the winner's enclosure. Chad Rosema getting set to get a few words from him here in just a moment. We'll give you another look at it there. And what is striking to me is just how cool McCarthy was coming to the wire. He knew that he was going to go by and measured it and stayed nice and calm. And the end result, a victory in the $1.3 million event. We'll hear from Andy coming up in a moment.
The inaugural Mohawk Million in the books. It's Venerate from the 2nd tier that gets the victory. Congratulations to the connections involved, including this gentleman right here, Andy McCarthy. And Andy, how does it feel?
Oh, it feels amazing just to be involved in a race like this. You know, it's an incredible event, and you know, I think it's important to hold races like this. It draws a lot of attention, and you know, hopefully it hangs around for next year.
Not $1 but $2 million races, the 2 richest races of the year in North America, and you've captured them. Did you ever think you'd be standing here today and I'd be saying that to you?
Maybe not. I dreamed about it. I definitely dreamed about it, and you know what? It's I've said it before. My parents put a very a can-do attitude into all us boys, and you know they make us believe in ourselves. And you know, heading into all these races, I think I can win them. You know what I mean? I want to give myself the best chance, and I'm just very fortunate.
Talk about the trip. You were able to follow the favorite by design.
I was hoping I got out of there a little closer, but you know, after scoring him down, I knew that I couldn't make him accelerate too fast. So I just wanted to get out of there upright. I knew that you know, he's a very strong horse. I've seen that, and I just wanted to make sure I stayed upright. I didn't really care how far back I got. I just figured I'd have to get through that first turn and then worry about where I'm going from there. You know what I mean? It worked out where I could. You know, the speed was pretty tough early, so it worked out where I could end up getting a pretty good trip from, you know, when I looked up at the 8th pole, I was a long way back.
You know, I know you made a big commitment to come here over the past couple of weeks, but you've now got a Mohawk Million title, a Canadian Trotting Classic, an Elegant Image. It's sweet, but I'm sure you're excited to get back to your family.
Oh, I can't wait. You know, it's been a long time. You know, I was having a tough night tonight, you know what I mean? But, you know, thank God I had the 9th race off. I got a chance. I went and changed my colours, changed my gloves. I changed whatever I could change and just got myself in the right mindset, you know what I mean? And, you know, and I'm so thankful for Andy and Julie and Pinsky Stable and Brad for deciding to use me on this horse. I'm very grateful.
Congratulations, Andy, and continued success for the rest of the year.
Thanks, Chad.
All right, we're going to bring in Brad Grant here now, one of the slot owners here that allowed this horse Venerate to get in for the Pinsky Stables and Andy Miller. And Brad, how does this feel for you? I know it's not a horse you own, but it's a slot you own.
Well, it makes me look pretty smart, I guess, but you know, we really believed in this race when we bought our slot. What Mohawk Woodbine has done is something new. I think it's great. I think it had a buzz to it all year long. Everybody was watching how their colts were coming and their fillies, and you know, it's unfortunate our colt didn't get here, but you know, talked to Julie Miller, and one quick conversation, we had a deal done, and just wonderful people to work with, and I'm happy it worked out for them, and I'm really happy it worked out for us.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you and the entire team. I know I was speaking to Julie, too, and you made her very, very happy, and the Pinskys, of course. I have a feeling you're going to make a strong push for this race to continue on next year.
Well, I'm sure I've now got some seed money, so I could take a run at it next year again.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm glad you got that. Congratulations, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, there it is. It's Venerate taking the inaugural Mohawk Million for Andy McCarthy, Julie Miller, Pinsky Stables, Andy Miller Stable, and slot owner Brad Grant.
And nice to hear from Brad Grant, and love the shirt too, Brad. Well done. And yeah, he, you know, will be championing a second edition of the Mohawk Million next year, and we certainly hope so. And nice win for the Millers. They've been knocking at the door. They've had some really good results, and especially the big races like the Hambletonian in recent years. So nice to see them get a big win here in this $1.3 million contest. And yeah, what a couple of weeks it's been for Andy McCarthy here. He won the Canadian Trotting Classic in upset fashion recently, scored with Ramona Hill in the Elegant Image the very same night. Tonight, very nearly had the big double again. Scarlett Hanover was a winner in the She's a Great Lady earlier in the night, but placed, and we talked about it earlier, he was going to have to put that behind him and get focused on the rest of the night, and that's what the good drivers are able to do. And he talked about how he did it, and just a masterful steer to take home the Mohawk Million and the lion's share of the $1.3 million purse. So it is in the books, and Venerate is the champion of the inaugural edition in 153-2 over the highly rated filly Donna Soprano. And that is going to do it for our coverage here this evening from Woodbine Mohawk Park. We hope you have enjoyed it, and really happy to have you tuning in worldwide tonight. We'll take a look ahead at what is coming up on the next few editions of COSA-TV. And we are getting ready for action just down the highway in London On October the 9th, we'll be at the Raceway at Western Fair District as their season starts off. On October 7th, they welcome 3-year-old Colt Pacers in the OSS Gold Divisions there on the 9th. Could we see another matchup between Tattoo Artist and Beaumont Hanover? We certainly hope so. We'll be back here for the Grassroots Championships of the OSS the following night. And then 1 week later, the Ontario Sire Stakes Super Finals will crown the champions of the OSS Series for 2020 on October 17th. And our final live show of the season coming up in mid-November when we have the SPO A Finals coming up here at Woodbine Mohawk Park as well. It's been a busy night, 6 races in total. Busy night for colleague Mark McKelvey. Been doing a little bit of double duty, had to run across the track a couple of times tonight and handle some social media duties and here on the show. So another great job. And your thoughts on the first ever Mohawk Million. And let's talk about Andy McCarthy, first of all. What a way to bounce back for him.
Certainly was. That's the first thing he said to me in the winner's circle, and I was getting him set up to take a couple photos. He said, well, that makes up for earlier tonight, and you know what? Sometimes the racing gods, like we said, they can be on your side, and everything kind of comes around in full circle. But an incredible performance. He said in his interview, he's telling me off camera, just the fact that Venerate was just full of trot. Again, just was sitting on him, going by in the lane, never had any doubt that he'd go by Donna Soprano, and a game effort from her. But I think the fact that we had what is arguably one of the top 2-year-old trotting colts and one of the top 2-year-old trotting fillies square off coming down the lane, the inaugural Mohawk Million, sets the scene for what could be an amazing event to come down the road. If this is the first of many, I think it really sets the tone well.
Yeah, I certainly hope so, and I think everybody watching tonight will be in agreement. And hey, with $1 million plus on the line, it adds a whole other element to it as well. So again, we hope you have enjoyed it tonight. We've enjoyed having you, and we'll see you next time on COSA TV.